From Oscar Smith High School in Chesapeake, WHCS Cable Channel 5 presents the Eastern Regional Championship game between the Hampton Crabbers and the Deep Creek Hornets. Tough call for the kicker if it gets down to that.
Arnie Powell, under pressure, steps up in the pocket, lobs it to the end zone. D. Harrell! In and out of the hand. It's ruled a touchdown. D. Harrell makes the catch. I thought the ball may have fallen out of the hands of D. Harrell. They said he had it long enough for the touchdown reception. And the Hornets are on top, and the Crabbers are sprawled out on the field in disbelief.
And that's the way it looked last year. I'm Tim Cole along with Bob Hintz. I've looked everywhere, Bob. I don't see any flying saucers anywhere.
No flying saucers here tonight, Tim, but there's a lot of people trying to get in, and it's been a parking lot, as you know, out there trying to get in.
Well, this is the championship game of the Eastern Regionals. It's a repeat of last year's finals. The Deep Creek Hornets were undefeated then. They won on that very controversial final play of the game. And believe me, Hampton has had no problem remembering what happened last year. And I'm sure Mike Smith didn't have to remind a single player.
Well, he sure didn't have to remind anybody, Tim. And one thing for sure, Hampton is a much better defensive team this year than they were last year. They were young, they were learning, they gave up some points, they could score points. This year they can score points, but they can stop you. And they held Dyer last year. They held him to under 100 yards, which is really hard to do. He's a fine running back, but Hampton's really strong this year.
Well, I tell you what, besides Dyer, you've got to stop Arnie Powell, the quarterback for Deep Creek. He is a fine-looking quarterback. He not only passes and runs the team well, but he can run with the ball as well.
He's a big kid, and he passes the ball well. He's not thrown as many passes this year. Of course, when you got Dyer who can run the ball and get a couple of 100 yards every game, you don't need to put the ball in the air.
Let's talk about the Hampton Crabbers very briefly. Ronald Curry, I should say. He likes to be called Ronald. And, of course, Chris Ricks and a lot of the rest of the Hampton team. They're going to be up for this game tonight.
Oh, they really are. And not only those two young men you talked about, but you have to look at that offensive line. They've done a great job all year. And in the defense, I'm just really amazed at the growth of the defense this year. They have just gotten better and better every game. They've known they've been in a playoff situation since game one, and they have responded.
Well, right now we're going to go back in time. Bob had a chance earlier to talk to the head coach Carter of the Deep Creek Hornets.
Bob Hintz with Coach Eric Carter of the Deep Creek Hornets. Coach, congratulations on a fine season so far. Undefeated. I know it's got to make you feel good.
Well, Bob, you know, we've got a great bunch of kids, good coaches, and a very loyal fan support, and we've, I think, got things rolling pretty well at Deep Creek. Yeah.
Well, it always makes it nice when you have some coaches that are on the same page as you're on. I know you're coming up against the Hampton team last year. You guys put a lot of points on the board. Do you expect the same thing this year?
No, I think that both Hampton's defense and our defense has improved a lot. We are a little quicker than we were last year, and I know I've seen Hampton on several films, and obviously they're a lot better. I know their numbers, they've not given up nearly as many points, and Mike Smith is the kind of coach that, you know, he's going to play good defense, and I think last year he was a little young there, but it'll be, I think, a lot low scoring. I'm not sure how low it's going to be, but it's not going to be in the 40s like it was last year.
Well, I didn't think it would be, but
I don't think my heart can stand that anyway.
Well, that was quite a game last year. Tell me just a little bit, if you can, about your big fullback, Dyer.
Well, you know, Dion's a big kid. He's, I think, probably the most coachable kid I've ever worked with in my 20-plus years of coaching. He's a real team player. He's not an eye player. He's a team player, and he's willing to do about anything that you need to do to win. And you know, in order to do what we got to do, we got to establish Dion inside. We got to be able to run inside with Dion. If I'm sure that Mike has told his kids they got to take Dion away, and so, you know, it's just going to be a battle, I guess, of wills now. Who's gonna give it up first? But you know, we're going to run the big man inside and just keep pounding and hope we can break something with it.
Well, listen, congratulations on a fine season.
Yeah,
good luck to you tonight.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Good enough.
Of course, Coach Carter has a great ensemble again this year. This kid, Dyer, he is something. Dion Dyer, he is tough. I watched the game between Kickoff and Deep Creek, and as you did as well. You don't tackle this kid around the shoulders. You will not stop him up high. You've got to take his legs.
Well, the what the coaches say is you got to take his wheels out from under him. You hit him low, take his wheels out from under him, and you can stop him. You hit him high, he will carry you, and it's going to take more than one person to bring him down. If you hit him high and you bounce off him, he's a big, strong kid, 240-some pounds, and he's a horse when he runs the ball.
Well, the Hampton High School team is also a horse, and it ought to be a good one. Bob, I'm sorry, but Mike Smith didn't have a chance to talk with us. Right. His team and him, they got here late. They got stuck in the same traffic jam I did, so unfortunately they were unable to talk with us. We'll be back with the starting lineups for tonight's championship game after this brief timeout. Tonight's game is brought to you by sponsorships of the following. Zoom's Sitco with 5 friendly Hampton locations. By Hampton Chevrolet in Hampton. By Forbes and Broadwell, attorneys at law, along with Lifeline Fitness Center.
Coming up for your next print job called Gear Up.
And in part by Wood Funeral Home, where the funeral director is Richard Pulley. All right, we're set to go. We've got Mick McCullough is the referee for tonight. He is wired for sound, so we will be able to pick up his comments and commentary throughout the ball game, and hopefully we'll get a word in edgewise.
Well, I tell you, Mick does a great job, and we do appreciate him doing this for us tonight. We've got a chance. We'll show the rest of the officials up there before we get to the starting kickoff here.
And we, of course, have the A-team on hand for this big rematch. If you watched last year, there you see Mick McCullough is the referee. The umpire is Don Klemensick. Tom Chisman is the linesman. The line judge is Gary Roby. And Ray Sperrier is the back judge for tonight's contest. I started to say last year's game, of course, was a incredibly well-played game. It was a high-scoring game. 48-42 was the outcome of that game. And, of course, Deep Creek won with a controversial last-second pass completion. Yours truly was on hand. We were there with the Channel 23, group out of Chesapeake. We want to welcome those of you in Chesapeake and on the south side to our coverage of tonight's contest, as Channel 23 is off doing the Indian River, Indian River and Green Run, I believe it was.
Yeah, I think that's who it is.
The Division 6. So we're sharing some of the duties, and again, we welcome Chesapeake Schools, Channel 23, to our broadcast for tonight's contest. The Hampton Crabbers are only loss on the season, a opening season 4-point loss to the Kickoff Warriors, a team, of course, that Chesapeake defeated last week. Deep Creek defeated last week to get to this championship game. And, of course, the Hampton Crabbers defeated Granby 28-0 to reach the finals of the Eastern Regions for the second time in 2 years. You see some of the team from Hampton getting ready to come across the field. Bob, that's Donnie Green on the left there. In the middle, that's 21, Chris Ricks, and number 77, Big Marcus Smith. And Donnie Green, of course, was our player of the game last week.
Hey, along with Daryl Smith. We had double players of the game last week.
Now for the Deep Creek Hornets, number 30 is Daryl Husky. Number 60 is Andre Thomas. 55
Mr. Ricks. All right,
is Kevin Parker.
Mr. Dyer
to Mick McCullough.
Mr. Parker. Mr. Husky. Gentlemen, we're looking for a good ball game. You need to be proud to representing your schools at this level. We wish you the best luck to proceed. 5 guys that want to work hard for you. Let us do our jobs. Mr. Roby, Mr. Sparrow, Mr. Chisholm, and Mr. Klemensick. Any questions of me? Thank you. Hampton, if you'll come down here, and Deep Creek, if you'll come right here. Hampton has won the toss and elected to receive. Hampton will receive. All right, gentlemen, we're ready to go. Give us a handshake. Let's have a good football game.
All right, Tim, this is going to be a great game. We will pick a player of the game from the Hampton school tonight, and they will receive a shirt and a plaque. The plaque comes from Buckwalter Engraving, located at Kickoff Road. For all your engraving needs, contact Jim at 723-6067. Dave Buckwalter, owner. The shirt comes from Islander Hardware and Sporting Goods, located at Pocosin. They can meet all your sports needs with a full line of athletic goods, both team and individual equipment and uniforms, plus screen printing. Call Dave Chubb at 868-8467. John Roberts is owner.
We are about set to get this one underway as the Hampton Crabbers will be receiving
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
The Hampton Crabbers, of course, in the white uniforms with the red numerals and stripes. So much for that. Trying to get the fans in front of us to sit down, but we'll hopefully get you a picture. And if nothing else, we'll work off the monitor as best we can.
Yeah, we can, and I'm going to stand up while I want to kick off anyway.
Ball is teed up. Joe Verdi will be kicking off for Deep Creek. A perfect 11-0 season for the Hornets.
Well, the ball blew off the tee, Tim. It is a little bit windy out there. The wind is blowing from our right to left, and it's pretty gusty.
Yeah, it's a pretty good breeze. The team kicking off here, Deep Creek, will have a decided advantage with the wind in the face of the Hampton Crabbers.
Well, one thing about high school football, Tim, if the ball is kicked into the end zone or caught into the end zone, you cannot run it off. It just bring it out to the 20. You cannot run it out, I'm sorry. They're having trouble getting that ball to stay on the tee.
They may have to have one of the players hold the ball for the kickoff.
We have Tanya Sykes as one of our camera ladies tonight, along with Nat Braxton up here in the stands, and of course Ron Baton on the sideline.
All right, I think we've got the wind problem settled. Joe Verdi has the eye on the ball. And we are underway from Oscar Smith High School. This is taken at the 3-yard line. I believe he did not quite get back to the 20-yard line. Trying to pick up the young man who returned that kick.
Good job, Joe. There's your offense.
All right. I believe you're the man on the offense.
Lively is the center, Gargis, Massenberg, the guards, Green and Smith are the tackles. In the back, tight end, Blizzard, split end, Crawford, flanker, Ahmad Hawkins. In the backfield, we have Smith, the fullback, Ricks, the tailback, and Ronald Curry at quarterback.
Curry drops back, wants to pass on the opening play. Downfield, has a man wide open, and he is unable to hold on to it at the midfield stripe. A good defensive effort to bust up that play by Deep Creek as Bobby Blizzard out on the pattern looked like he might make the grab.
It sure did, Tim. That was a well-thrown ball into that wind. Good defense on that play. As we get a chance, we'll look at the Deep Creek Hornets defense.
Well, we'll do it after this play. 2nd down and 10. Just underway from Oscar Smith High School. From the 18-yard line. Curry, again, play action, wants to pass. Throws for Blizzard. He's got him this time. And Blizzard completes the pass at about the 35-yard line. He's driven out of bounds, but not before he gets the first down.
Bobby Blizzard is open, and go ahead, Tim.
All right, Griffin and Peel are the tackles. The ends are Thomas and Cuffey. For Deep Creek, the linebackers, Parker and Verdi, along with Martin and Miller. The corners are Mack and Frost and Husky. First down, the ball across the 35-yard line.
If you see the Deep Creek Hornets, we'll line up in a 4-4.
Again, Curry keeps the ball. Again, wants to throw. He's got Christopher Ricks, and he can't quite check that, Kenny Crawford, rather, and he can't come up with the ball. That would have been a tough catch if Kenny Crawford had been able to make the grab.
Well, that wind held the ball up just a bit, I believe, Tim, because Crawford was out there. Had he been able to continue running, he could have run underneath the ball, but that wind is strong.
Now, interestingly, the Crabbers, of course, are a very balanced attack. They do a good job of equally running and passing. Have come out, first 3 plays, have thrown the ball.
Yeah, that's it's kind of setting the tone. Mike Smith is just going to go after him, and he knows he's got a great passing attack, but he also knows in that 4-4, they like to play a lot of zone, and you can open up that some holes in that zone.
Again, Curry keeping, rolling, looking, now steps up, keeps the ball, and is driven out of bounds at about the 44-yard line. He'd be short of the first down, and they'll mark it at about the 43. The field here is a little difficult for us to pick up the yard markers. It's not marked very clearly. The field has had a lot of play. Of course, this is postseason play, so this field is only 2 years old, and to be quite honest, the grass just hasn't had a chance to really grab hold and turn as green as it can. And they to be honest, they don't mark it as well as they do over at Darling Stadium.
Well, this is a nice field, Tim. This is a new facility over here, but it definitely is not in the class of Darling Stadium, where they have Ron Malloy working the field.
Larry Malloy.
I'm sorry, Larry Malloy, yeah.
And now Curry will take a timeout as he got up to the line of scrimmage with third down and about 2.
Timeout.
Decided
Hampton
to look things over. Did not like the defense that he was looking at, and with that in mind, he went ahead and took the timeout. Zoom's Citgo, 5 convenient Hampton locations. Again, we are very thankful to have Zoom supporting Channel 5 football right here on WHCS. And again, we welcome those of you in Chesapeake on Channel 23 for our coverage tonight. I'm Tim Cole along with Bob Hintz. As you look into the Hampton huddle, that's Ron Curry, and right in the middle of your screen is head coach Mike Smith.
Well, Tim, I think what they tried to do that time really was try to draw them offside on a staggered count, and if they can't draw them offside, they will take the timeout. Mike will call a play from the sideline, 3rd and short, and let's see what happens.
We want to also mention that Gear Up Printing is another one of our proud sponsors of Channel 5 coverage of high school sports. All right, 3rd down and 2 for the Crabbers. I formation, wide receiver left and right. Curry play action, rolling, looking, has plenty of running room. He'll get the first down and then some. Gets by one tackler, still on his feet, all the way down to the 35-yard line of Deep Creek.
Well, he sure gave a limp leg, because the tackler sure thought he had him, one of the Deep Creek backs, and he just gave him a limp leg. But that rollout, Tim, he is wide open on that rollout.
Ronald Curry, one of the best athletes to come down the pike in a number of years, just a sophomore, but he plays with the finesse and the savvy of a senior. This young man just has done a tremendous job. Of course, those of you on the south side remember him very well last year in that championship game against Deep Creek. Just 2 interceptions all year for this young man. Now Curry takes time to pick up his mouthpiece, look like. Again, rolling, looking toward the end zone, still has the ball, unloads, and throws behind the intended receiver, Blizzard, who had gotten down inside the 20-yard line. And again, a tough play as the pressure from the Deep Creek Hornets caused Curry to throw that ball behind the intended receiver.
Well, that's one of the first times that he's been pressured behind the line of scrimmage. And Deep Creek is running some people in. They're going to try to keep some fresh linemen in there, because they're going to feel like they're going to be chasing Ron Curry all night tonight.
This will wear out a lineman in a hurry. You know, there's one of the most tiresome things for a defensive lineman is to chase the quarterback around, and Ronald Curry will do that to you.
Well, and he'll frustrate you, too, if you can ever catch him.
9:22 remaining in a scoreless first quarter. Hampton with the initial possession of the ball game. Curry, play action, gets away, still on his feet, stumbles, and now will pick up yardage of about 3 yards before he is buried by a host of Deep Creek tacklers at about the 23-yard line.
And you're right, he did stumble a bit, or he may have picked up some extra yardage, but it's hard to make any moves while you're trying to get your balance.
Now this is about what I would call 4-down territory for the Crabbers. They have a young kicker. This young man, Shepard, has come on late in the season, but he really doesn't have the distance to kick the field goal from this range. So I would suspect at this point that we would see the Crabbers, if they don't get it on 3rd down and 7, I'd see them going for it.
Well, Tim, and you have to understand he is kicking into a pretty stiff wind.
No question about that as well. And now a flag comes down, and we're going to have delay of game, a crucial penalty against the Crabbers. Instead of 3rd and 7, it'll be 3rd and 12 for Hampton.
Dead ball. Delay of the game. Offense. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
Well, he said 2nd, Tim. It's 3rd, I believe, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is 3rd down, and referee McCullough very helpful with the microphone tonight, but we do have to correct you, Mickey. The side of the field that we are on is the Deep Creek side, and they are standing and stomping their feet. So if you're hearing a thunderous sound in your receiving, that's what that is all about. Third down and 12. Crabbers. Curry again. Now this time straight back to pass. Throws in the end zone. Has Hawkins there, and Hawkins bats the ball away. He actually became the defender on the play as Curry threw into about a three-man coverage on Ahmad Hawkins.
I sure did, and Ahmad Hawkins did a great job of becoming a defensive player on that play.
There you see a good look at Ahmad Hawkins returning to the huddle. It will be fourth down now and 12, and as we had suspected, this would be a go-for-it down for the Crabbers.
Well, I hear like we're kind of breaking up a little bit, Tim, and I don't know if that's just in our headphones or what, but hopefully it's coming across real good on the... no problem on here. That sounds good.
All right, with fourth down and long, I want to correct myself. Mike Smith will always surprise you. Ronald Curry is in deep punt formation, but those of you that may not know this, he is the punter. But I would be amazed that he is not going to punt the ball, or at least it appears he's not. He will not get the first down either, as he will be stopped after about a 2-yard gain. So the Crabbers, in what would appear to be a deep shotgun or deep punt formation, however you want to call it, they were going to go for the pass or the kick. I'm not sure exactly what they were going to do, but they had a lot of options.
I don't think kick was one of the options that they were going to do. He was either going to pass or run the ball. He had a lane open, but this number 73 for the Deep Creek made a great job of getting away from his tackle or his blocker.
All right.
Big Tim Griffin, just a junior.
Dyer gets the initial call, and he'll pick up 10.
Get a chance to show the Deep Creek Hornets offense and a Hampton defense.
Let's look.
So that I know which way we're going.
You got a timeout to look at it. My time?
I'll go ahead.
My time.
What'll make a difference?
Okay, that doesn't matter to me either.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead. We got a measurement. We go ahead with the lineups.
Nick McCullough is going to bring the chains across. It looked like he got about 10.5 yards on the play.
What are you doing, Curry?
And that's exactly what it was. He got the length of the ball. Here we see the Crabbers on defense.
Okay, on defense, Perry and Smith for the guards, Green and Monroe are the tackles. At the defensive ends, the Groggins and Baycoat, the linebackers, White and Hollier. Defensive back, Hawkins and McKenzie, and safety is Ronald Curry.
And we'll give you the starting lineup on offense for the Deep Creek Hornets after this next play. First and 10 for the Hornets. This is Dyer, and Dyer bounces off one tackler, off another tackler, and he's all the way down to the Hampton 44-yard line, almost another first down.
Well, that's what we talked about, Tim, earlier. You got to hit him low. You bounce off of him, you try to hit him too high.
And on offense, the Hornets, Norris is the center, Cuffey and Wingate are the guards. The tackles are Davis and Mincy. The ends are Perry and Raynor. And the backfield consists of Angelo Sykes and Mack, along with the fullback Dyer, and Arnie Powell is the quarterback. And this one was a pickup of about 9, so it's second and short for the Hornets. 6:53 remaining in the first quarter. No score. Hampton had the ball, drove the length of the field, and then had to give the ball up on downs. And now the Hornets have to call a timeout as there was some confusion. And they decided to, rather than waste a down, Arnie Powell called the timeout for the Hornets.
Well, if he had to call timeout, he had a good chance of getting a penalty for delay of game.
Steve Forbes and Mark Broadwell are attorneys at law. They are located at 1 East Queensway in Hampton. Call 727-0017. Also, this first quarter of action is sponsored in part by Wood Funeral Home, where Richard Pulley is the funeral director. On staff are Brian Wood and John Ware. Halfway through the first quarter, no real surprises. It's been the Ronald Curry show on the Hampton side of the ball, and it's been the Deion Dyer story for the Deep Creek Hornets.
Well, that's who brought him to the dance. Dyer brought him to the dance, and they're going to go with him. That's what the coach said in that interview, Tim. He's going to go with him, and because he's the young man that got us here.
Arnie Powell, the tall quarterback, over center for the Hornets. Second down and about a yard. In the wing tee, Dyer gets the call, easily the first down. He is stacked up as he crosses the Hampton 40 to about the 39-yard line, and it'll be another first down for the Hornets.
Well, they've got him listed, Tim, number 44, Dyer, as 240 pounds, 6 foot. That's a hoss to try to bring down one-on-one. You got to take his wheels out from under him. Take him on at the ankles and the legs, and he will fall.
But that's the only way you'll get him down. You cannot shoulder tackle this young man because he will run right over you. Ball is marked at the Hampton 40. Dyer again gets the call, and again a flag down on this play, but again he has enough for the first down if the play holds up.
Could be holding.
And they are going almost exclusively to the left side.
Offense.
And that is the call. So the offensive holding will be the only thing so far in the first quarter to slow down Deon Dyer.
He's like he's coming out of a cannon back there. He's just really firing out. Kickoff kind of muscled him, as you saw it in the replay that we saw on Channel 5, and we appreciate Channel 23 doing that for us. But that was a great job Kickoff Warriors did.
Holding on the offense. We'll repeat the down. Repeat the down.
So Mick McCullough gives us the story. The penalty negates what would have been a first down for the Deep Creek Hornets. It remains first down now, but it's first down at about 17. The spot foul being assessed, and the ball on the Deep Creek side of the Hampton 45-yard line. And a fumble in the backfield. The ball is loose. And I believe Hampton may have recovered. We'll wait and see and let the officials untangle this.
It looked like McCullough was pointing. No, there he goes. Hampton got the
Well, it was either 15 Baycoat or it might have been 75 Donnie Green. I'm not sure which, but it was a scramble for the loose ball. It looked like they were going to do a double reverse in the backfield.
Well, they were, and that's exactly what was going to play. I don't know if we have it on replay or not, but they fumbled the handoffs. And you wonder why they do that. They had such good success running Dyer, but big break for the Crabbers.
So the Crabbers take over at the Deep Creek 47-yard line. Curry again with play action, rolling to his left, looking downfield, has Blizzard. Blizzard's got the ball at the 30-yard line and finally goes out of bounds at about the 27. So Ronald Curry continues to roll out and run or pass accordingly. This time, Big Bobby Blizzard is his receiver.
Well, he had Bobby Blizzard in the flat, and then he had looked like Hawkins deep, or somebody was deep. I wasn't sure. I didn't pick up the number, but he picked the short man because he was wide open. Blizzard's got great hands. We've seen him take a couple balls away from people this year. So if you get the ball close to him, he'll come up with it.
First down for the Crabbers. And Christopher Ricks gets the call, and he gets maybe a yard at most. Stopped at about the 16-yard line of Deep Creek. But check that. I'm sorry, that's the 20. Well, I can't even see the yard marker.
It looks like about a 26.
The 26-yard line, okay. I'm so spoiled, Bob, I can't even tell you. We got fans standing in front of us. We've got the players standing in front of the yard markers. So forgive me if I was off on that one. On the option, the pitch. This goes to Ricks. Ricks tries to cut it inside. He gets across the 25 down to about the 23-yard line. And it'll bring up a third down and a long 5 for the Crabbers. Scoreless first quarter, something that was not the case last year as these two teams met. They put a ton of points on the board, 90 points last year between the two teams. And so far, it's been scoreless through the first period. 4:49, the clock is moving. As I mentioned, the third down, let's call it 6 for the Crabbers. I formation, split receivers left and right. Curry over the middle, throws, and it's incomplete. It should have been caught as Ahmad Hawkins had it right at the first down marker, but couldn't hold on to it.
It looked like, Tim, that he may have taken his eye off the ball, looking to make a cut as soon as he came down, and just glanced off his hands.
Ahmad Hawkins, one of the more reliable receivers all year long for the Hampton Crabbers. Hawkins coming in the game, 19 catches for better than 480 yards, but unable to come up that ball, slightly thrown behind him. And now it brings up a 4th down and 6, and this is the second time that the Crabbers have been 4th and long in Deep Creek territory. Curry, play action, looking, has time, got Blizzard wide open in the end zone, but he can't come down with it. In and out of his hands, he had it in the end zone, but couldn't make the catch.
Well, Blizzard's been running the short pattern. He went deep that time, was wide open in the end zone.
So the Hornets hold again as the defense is able to stop the Crabbers. If you want to save the defense, that was really just a case of the ball not being caught. And, of course, we never want to get on these young men. These guys are trying as hard as they can. When they drop a pass like that, there's no one that feels worse about it than they do.
Well, and Bobby, just a sophomore, Tim. Tim, there's a young team out there in this Hampton Crabbers.
And it's cold out there, too, folks. It's in the low 40s. All right, the Hornets will take over. The pitch this time goes to Terry Frost.
Donnie Green was in on a tackle. Donnie had a great game last week. Tim really picked up the offense and the defense by his play. He plays both sides of the ball. I was looking at Deep Creek. They only have two guys that play both, that start both ways, and that's Terrence Max and Nick Cuffey.
Ball is spotted at the Deep Creek 27-yard line after the 3-yard gain. And now we have a stoppage of play by the officials.
Equipment problem.
That'll give me an opportunity to make mention of the fact that Hampton Chevrolet is one of our sponsors. And again, Hampton Chevrolet encourages those of you in the community to give the United Way, especially this time of the year for those that are less fortunate than us. Let's remember the needy during these holiday times. Hampton Chevrolet reminds you to please do what you can. 3:56 remaining in a scoreless first quarter. Hampton and Deep Creek for the Eastern Regional Group AAA Division 5 Championship. Man in motion. Inside handoff for Dyer, and Dyer struggles and gets out across the 30 to about the 32. It'll be very close to a first down. He needs to get almost to the 34, however.
Well, they're going to take a look at it. I don't know if they're going to measure or not, but Deep Creek will line up in a T formation, and then they'll shift one of the backs to a wing, or sometimes both of the backs to wings, and run from a wing T or a double wing T. And they'll do a lot of reverse inside handoff sometime, but their basic bread and butter has been right up the gut with Big Dion.
And that fine offensive line of Deep Creek making holes, and they'll try to do so again. It's 3rd and short. About a yard or a little less. Lead blocker for Dyer, and Dyer gets the first down as he goes easily across the 35 to about the 36-yard line. So it's been the running attack of the Hornets against the passing attack of the Hampton Crabbers. Those of you that are not familiar with Ronald Curry and his statistics on the season, and these, by the way, are provided to us courtesy of the Daily Press. Mr. Curry coming into the game, 59 completions in 114 attempts for about 450 yards. But the big question, a big positive, if you will, is the fact that he's only been intercepted twice in 11 games, and one of those came last week against Granby. First down for the Hornets. This is Frost. Frost, left end, and he is driven out of bounds as he crosses the 40 to about the 41-yard line.
Looks like a pickup of about 5. The good blocking. It looks like they're running, for the most part, they're running to the left side of their offensive line.
James Grogan's in on the stop for the Hampton Crabbers, and truly, it's been almost exclusively, I think, one exception, the play has gone to the left, so they must feel like they can run against that defensive right-hand side of the Hampton Crabbers.
Well, either that or they have a lot of confidence in the blockers on their left-hand side.
Well, a combination of both,
Maybe a combination of both, but there are some big guys on the left side of that line.
Pick up a 5 on the last play, 2nd down and 5. Looks like some premature motion. We got flags down. I don't believe this play will even get off, as it looked like one of the offensive linemen moved prematurely.
Dead ball, false start offense, 76.
Okay, well, we don't call names, Mick, so we won't.
Well, he didn't call a name. He just
true.
called a number.
Well, we won't match a name with the number.
No, we don't do that.
In any event, it's a 5-yard mark-off against
Dead ball, false start on the offense. Repeat the down, 2nd down.
So it moves the ball back to the 35.5, if you will, and they need to get to the 46, so it's a little more than 10 yards to go. 2nd down. No score here in the first quarter from Oscar Smith High School in Chesapeake.
And our friend from the Peninsula, Coach Lyons, is one of the coaches over here.
Dyer dragging would-be tacklers for a first down. Out to the 49-yard line.
That was the first time they had a second and long, Tim, but it didn't make any difference when Dyer got outside.
Last week, all Dyer did was score 2 touchdowns and go for 150 yards against the Kickoff Warriors, and the Warriors did a good job against him. So that tells you what kind of talent this young man has. Arnie Powell over the center. Frost comes out.
They set up in a double T, a wing, and then put one man in motion.
And that's Terrence Mack, who was the man in motion, and he just simply lost his footing as he got the handoff from Powell for about a 3-yard loss.
Well, that's an inside handoff, Tim. He may have tripped over Powell's foot or something because he went down like he was tackled.
This field, by the way, is in real good condition. The field is firm. There's no problem as far as the footing is concerned. There's been little or no rain here at all the last couple of days, so there's no problem with the footing, and there's no dew on the field either because of the stiff breezes that are keeping any possibility of that happening. Second down at about 12. Powell on the option. And he picks up a beautiful block. Powell has that running speed. He is tripped up, but not before getting to the Hampton 27-yard line.
It looked like number 42 making the tackle. I believe that's Christopher Ricks.
The 42 would be Darnell Hollier.
I'm sorry, not Ricks, Hollier. Young man we talked about last week whose brother is playing in the NFL for the Miami Dolphins.
A big first down. Arnie Powell showing his running ability, and he is a fine-looking quarterback. This young man has done a great job of directing the Deep Creek Hornets.
Well, he's just a junior, Tim, and he is 6'5", so he is a big kid.
First down at the Hampton 27-yard line. Less than a minute to go here. This is Dyer. Dyer with one man to get around. He just pushed.
11, Tim.
Check that 11, rather. Dyer was the lead blocker.
That's Terrence Mack, number 11.
So Terrence Mack gets the touchdown, but there's a penalty flag down.
Same team. Multiple fouls. Both blocking below the waist.
So the penalty will wipe out the touchdown. I was watching Dyer. I thought he had the ball. That and people standing up in front of me, I just couldn't see, folks. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm standing up.
I know, that's what I'm going to have to do, too.
If people stand up, I can't see. Need a little bit of air in here. I don't know about you, but I can stand a little bit of air.
So the penalty negates the 27-yard run by Terrence Mack. So the Hornets will have one taken off the board. And this is a big penalty. This moves Deep Creek all the way back to the 38-yard line.
Below the waist. On the offense, we had multiple fouls, 2 fouls. We took the foul from the deepest penetration, or the foul, which will result in a 15-yard penalty. We'll repeat the down.
So Mick McCullough has informed us there were in fact 2 penalties on the play, and the one that was most advantageous to the offended team, which was the Hampton Crabbers, of course, is the penalty that they took. And in any event, it negated a beautiful run by Terrence Mack for a touchdown, but that one will not count.
Well, they put Dyer up front, up in the middle, up the middle.
Powell straight back to pass, gets some pressure, and he gets away from 1 or 2 Hampton Crabbers. Donnie Green chased him down from behind. Also, if I can pick up the young man's number.
33.
Yeah, that's 33. That's Derek White, who does a great job on defense for the Crabbers. So White in on the stop as well, as Arnie Powell showed again his running ability as the quarterback. Ball is at the Hampton 33-yard line. It's second down. And I believe, the scoreboard clock is running down. We're inside of 20 seconds to go. Inside handoff, and that's busted up. That play did not get off the ground as Frost was creamed as he got to the line of scrimmage.
George Massenberg was right there, Tim. Hit him, and he bounced right off of right off of George.
And that is going to be the last play of the first quarter. And the referee will hoist the ball above his head, and they mark it at the Hampton 35-yard line. And when the second quarter resumes, it'll be third down and about 17 to go for Deep Creek.
I'll buy that.
And again, we want to remind everybody we are welcoming Chesapeake to our broadcast tonight of tonight's game, Channel 23. Of course, the fine crew over there at Channel 23 is doing the Green Run game.
Indian River, yeah.
Indian River and Green Run. So they, like us, can't be in two places at the same time, and we appreciate the opportunity to bring this game to you. And, of course, the fans on the peninsula. The winner of this game will advance to the state semis and will go to Northern Virginia to play an opponent to be named.
And I don't know who the opponent is, but if their winner there, if it's one of these two teams, they will come back to the east to host a state championship game.
I believe it would be here if it's Deep Creek, or it would be Darling Stadium if it is Hampton, is my understanding. Although they may move that to Todd Stadium. I guess you don't want to have to have a neutral site.
They've played them the last time that Hampton did. They played at the Darling Stadium. So if you're going to be at a class place, then you want to go to Darling Stadium. Larry Malloy will have that place ready to go. Grass will be green. He'll talk to it. He gets it to grow and turn green for you and everything.
Hey, listen, a great Christmas gift. A membership to the Lifeline Fitness Center. Think about it. In Hampton, they're at 1816 Todd's Lane, Lifeline Fitness Center, one of our sponsors tonight. Third down and long for Deep Creek.
Well, this is a passing situation. This young quarterback has not passed as many times as some of the other quarterbacks in the that he has faced, but you don't have too many times if you don't end up in the third and long. But they're going to run the option.
On the option. And the ball is loose. The ball is fallen upon by Deep Creek. I believe they
Number
did,
19.
in fact, recover.
19 got it, Tim. Looks like Teray Frost.
So Frost recovered the loose ball. But nonetheless, it will bring up a fourth down. And again, on two similar situations, we saw the Hampton Crabbers go for it on fourth down. And now we'll see Joe Verdi come in and try a long field goal if, in fact, that's what they do.
Well, I think he's going to go into punch situation because he's going against that stiff wind. And he probably wants to try to pin Hampton as deep in their end of their field as they can. And if they don't get some players out there real quick, they may have a delay of game.
Deep Creek having difficulty getting the right number on there. Looks like they do now. And Verdi standing at about his 40, or checking at the Hampton 46-yard line, will in fact punt the ball. And a fair catch called for, and it takes a Deep Creek bounce as it is down at about the 11 or 12-yard line. So again, uncharacteristically versus last year's game, no score yet as we are in the second quarter at Oscar Smith High School.
Well, in my interview with Coach Jerry Carter, he said he does not expect the as many points scored this year as was last year. He says both teams better defensively, and I know for sure the Hampton team is better defensively.
Part of our sponsorship here in the second quarter, Gear Up Printing, and we want you to call Gear Up Printing at 827-8277 for all your printing needs. Ronald Curry at the helm, sends Blizzard along with Hawkins wide to the left. Handoff. Check that play action rather, and again Blizzard, the intended receiver, almost intercepted, as making an excellent effort was Darrell Husky. Almost came up with the ball. That would have only been the third interception of the season for Ronald Curry.
Well, they've run Blizzard from a slot or a split end rather than from his tight end position, which is a different look that Hampton has thrown out against the Hornets tonight.
If you joined us late, the Crabbers have had two opportunities in Deep Creek territory and have come away with nothing. And now Deep Creek just a moment ago doing the same in Hampton territory, and Hampton has the ball for the third time. Again, second down and 10 from their 12-yard line. A play action. pass completes, first down, as the Crabbers have it all the way out across the 30-yard line.
That looks like Darrell Smith coming out of the backfield, Tim.
Well, we heard a comment last week, or at least I did, during the Kickoff game with Deep Creek, that the Hornets had not seen a team that could pass as well as Kickoff could. And that was the Channel 23 crew saying that. They hadn't seen Hampton, because quite honestly, Kickoff is not nearly as good a passing team as the Hampton Crabbers.
Oh, no way. I think the only team that quarterback that even comes close to throwing the ball as well as Curry, as young Mr. Vick up at Ferguson, is a good throwing quarterback. But
well, don't forget Brian Hollowell over at Bethel High School as well.
Well, that's a good point.
Delayed handoff to Chris Ricks, and he gets nothing on the play. Ricks has been only had a couple of opportunities. He had 1,000 yards on the season, actually better than 1,000 yards. 1,050 to be exact, and 169 carries. Last week he was held pretty well in check by Granby, carrying the ball 15 times for less than 2 yards per carry.
Well, yeah, but they give the ball to Mr. Smith, and he picked it up. That was a sprint draw that time, something that Hampton has had success with in the past. This Deep Creek team has done a good job of checking out the Hampton's offense.
Curry holds on the ball, throws, and it is, well, let's see. Let's wait to see. A penalty flag has come down, or is that a penalty flag? No, that's a mouthpiece. And they say that Deep Creek has, in fact, intercepted the ball. Ronald Curry slow to get up, as he really took a shot as he released that ball. He held it as long as he could in an effort to get his intended receiver open.
Well, Tim, we do want to get a chance. We do want to talk about the coaches. Head coach for the Hornets, Jerry Carter. Defensive coordinator, John Dukes, who used to be a head coach at Indian River. Tom Revels, Perez Gatling, Jeff Beard, Jamie Fraser, and David Cox.
And I'll give you the entire coaching staff over at Hampton after this next play. But the Deep Creek Hornets have intercepted Ronald Curry, just his third INT of the season, and they get it at their 38-yard line. Inside handoff for Dyer. Dyer all the way out to the 45-yard line. He is just hard to bring down.
Well, there were 9 Crabbers around him.
Coaching staff, of course, Mike Smith, the head coach, Alvis Mann, Danny Mitchell, Lanny Franklin, Todd Summers, Ken Gilliam, Shannon Smith, Kevin Carter, Michael Carter, and Adolph Hawkins. And, of course, the athletic director is Diane Limerick. Here's a chance. By the way, we apologize for not having more replay for you, but we've had some difficulties. Curry, watch the shot that Curry takes just as he throws. And the ball was picked up. Should have been caught by the Crabbers. Looked like Kenny Crawford had a real good shot at it, but couldn't hold on to it. And Deep Creek comes up with the ball. And now on the running attack, they pick up the first down across the midfield stripe at Hampton 48-yard line.
Well, that was their wing back in motion, handing the ball. That was number 19. That young man is Teray Frost.
So Arnie Powell mixing up the plays. I should say Arnie Powell with the direction of Coach Carter, because he does apparently call the plays from the sideline. But in Hampton territory, second time the Hornets have been in Hampton territory. Out of the wing T formation. Straight handoff for Dyer, and Dyer just carries tacklers down to the Hampton 44.
And Ronald Curry had to come up from his safety spot to finish off the tackle. Dyer hits, twists, turns, and just keeps running forward and backwards.
Dyer, of course, is a senior here at Deep Creek. Arnie Powell will be back next year. But Dyer, I don't know what his academic standings are, but boy, the college coaches have got to be licking their lips if he's got the academics to go along with his talents on the football field. Man in motion is Frost. Inside handoff around the right side. Dyer, and Dyer just keeps on going all the way down to the Hampton 25-yard line.
And that fires up this crowd on this side. That young man is hard to bring down.
Mark Baycoat there, along with others for the Hampton Crabbers, number 7, McKenzie, and actually 2 or 3 other Crabbers as well. But Dyer just refusing to go down, and this is the kind of power running we have seen from Deion Dyer, not only this year, but last year as well. Another first down for the Deep Creek Hornets at the Hampton 25-yard line. Scoreless here, almost halfway through the second quarter. 6:35, the clock moving. Again, Dyer gets the call. And Dyer picks up about 3. Initial stop for the Hampton Crabbers was made by Darrell Smith, who had a great game against Granby offensively. Darrell, of course, a two-way performer for the Crabbers, had 139 yards on 15 carries. And so far, the Crabbers have not gone to him. It's almost as if they said, look, you guys saw what he could do last week. We're not going to tip our hand and go with him this week because you're going to be looking for it. Second down and about 7 after the 3-yard gain. This is Frost, and Frost will
Great job by Hollier, Tim.
Will not get back to the line of scrimmage. He is stacked up at the 25-yard line. Frost, just a junior for the Deep Creek Hornets.
And young Mr. Hollier, just a sophomore.
So the 25-yard line is where they'll mark it. It's third down and long now. Third down and about, well, let's call it 10. They gained 3 on the first down. They lost it on the second. Powell just getting to the huddle from the sideline.
Well, this is where you might look for a rollout, the quarterback rollout.
And in motion is Frost.
Right,
Straight back pass. A lot of time, and he throws. It is incomplete, almost intercepted by the Crabbers. Ronald Curry had a good shot at it at about the 5, but couldn't come up with it.
Well, right through the hands of Ahmad Hawkins, Tim, number 9. It went right through his hands. But in all fairness to him, there were people in front. He couldn't watch the flight of the ball.
So again, it's fourth down, and again, we're in that 4-down territory at the Hampton 25. And again, we remind you, if you just joined us, the team with the ball, Deep Creek, is going against a pretty good breeze. So if you wonder why no field goal attempt, that's as good a reason as any. Fourth down and 10 at the Hampton 25-yard line. Wing T formation. Take the pitch, the throw out in the flat. It is incomplete. It could have been rolled a lateral, and that's what Hampton thought it was. And the Hampton coaches are beside themselves.
Well, it doesn't make any difference. The ball goes over to them anyway.
Well, it does make a difference if you're the Crabbers and you pick it up and go 70 yards.
Yeah.
But apparently the ball was ruled to be a forward pass in any event.
Well, I didn't see the lineman who put pressure on the quarterback that time, Tim, but great job of putting pressure on Arnie Powell, and he really didn't get a good look to throw the ball to that wingman. That was almost like a wing screen out there, a wide receiver screen is what they looked like they tried to run, but not successful.
So the defense for both teams has been huge here in the first half. Ronald Curry still has the ball, throws and completes the pass to Blizzard at the 40, to the 45, to midfield. He is still on his feet and finally is taken down at the 49-yard line of Deep Creek.
Well, just a sophomore, Tim, and the coaches are real high on young Bobby Blizzard. He is just getting better and better every game since the first game.
6'5", 212 with good hands.
I bet he's bigger than 212 now. They had turkey days.
Probably close to 300.
That young man is just showing some tremendous hands, catching the ball, and then when you catch him, he looked a little bit like Dyer that time.
He is just, you do not shoulder tackle this young man. He's just like Dion Dyer in that sense. So of course, Dyer is much shorter. He's just got that low center of gravity. Dyer does.
A good point. Bobby had to tie his shoe. They gave him a chance to tie his shoe. Ran right out of his shoe.
So the clock is restarted. We're at 4:40 in a scoreless first half. That's the time remaining in the second quarter. Christopher Ricks gets the call. He is down to the Deep Creek 46-yard line. As I mentioned before, Christopher Ricks with better than 1,000 yards on the season for the Crabbers. Ricks is a senior. Blizzard, as you mentioned, the sophomore. Blizzard will be back next year for 2 more years along with Ronald Curry. Curry, of course, is a sophomore.
And young Mr. Hollier is just a sophomore. Adam Lively, the center, is just a sophomore, just to name a few.
47-yard line, second down and about 8 for the Crabbers. And again, play action. Curry almost ran right into a tackler Rolling, throwing, has Blizzard inside the 30s, out of bounds at the 26-yard line. That is one of the most difficult passes to throw when you're a right-handed quarterback rolling to your left.
And this is the other pass to Bobby Blizzard.
This is the one that he dragged the tacklers across midfield. We're going to go back and show you this one.
And here you can see him, a nice catch right there. It looked like he might throw the ball to Darrell Smith, who was wide open, but here you see him, he gets hit at the, I can't even see what yard marker it is.
Back to the live action. Play action fake. Curry looking in the end zone. Throws. Touchdown.
Nice catch. Well covered in the end zone.
You have to look around for flags. I don't see any.
Tim, I don't either. That looked like, what, about a 28-yarder, 27-yarder? What's Mr. Killen have over there? We do thank Bob Killen for his statistics.
26-yard pass. And the reason I said about the flags, because last week a flag came out of nowhere in the Kickoff Deep Creek game. I think someone from the bench threw that one, but we'll get into that. On to try the extra point, and it is blocked. So the extra point try is no good, and that could become a big factor later on. In any event, the Crabbers have drawn first blood.
What a great pass by Ronald Curry. There was two men open. I saw Bobby Blizzard open short of the goal line, but he set that pass right in between two defensive players right into the back of the end zone on a nice catch by Kenny Crawford, number 12. I couldn't see the number, Tim, so I wasn't going to say who it was.
At first, I thought it might be 32.
Well, that's my exact sentiments. I thought it was, but I couldn't tell.
Yeah, Mr. Mike Keach, the Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist for the Daily Press.
I got to ask him about that during halftime.
So the Crabbers have gotten on the board first with 3:43 remaining in the first half, as the defenses to this point have been outstanding for both teams, although they have, the old proverbial bent but not broken. They've allowed yardage by the other team. Dyer has been unstoppable inside the 30s, but when they get down inside the 30, then both teams have had difficulty to that point. Now the Crabbers are going to take a timeout here.
The kicker wasn't out there, and you're going to get a delay of game if you don't do something. The kicker may have been hurt on the block punt, I don't know, or block extra point.
Hampton Chevrolet reminds you that it's that time of year, not that there is a time of year to be generous, but during the holiday season, they invite you to be sure and give a little bit more. Give the United Way. Hampton Chevrolet in Hampton, Virginia on West Mercury Boulevard. Also want to remind you that Zoom Citgo sponsored the first Eagle Award for academic excellence in athletics, and they plan to make that award again this year to athletes with the highest GPA from each of the Hampton City High School football teams. Zoom Citgo.
Darnell Hollier is going to kick off, Tim.
So Hollier will do the kickoff for the Crabbers. It will be with the wind, but it's a short kick. And it is going to go out of bounds at about the 24-yard line.
Well, the reason there was no penalty is because a Deep Creek Hornet tried to catch the ball, touch the ball, or whatever.
Once it was touched in the field of play, then the ball was a live ball. And otherwise, the ball would have come out to the 35 or the 40-yard line.
35,
generally.
I think, is where it comes out to.
So the Crabbers get a bit of a break there as they mark the ball at the Deep Creek 24-yard line.
Well, they've got 3:43, and they do not want to go in at halftime behind.
2 timeouts remaining for the Hornets. But again, they are not the type of team that puts a lot of points on the board, generally speaking, by passing the ball. They will just jam it down your throat all night long, and they've got about 77 yards to go for a touchdown here with 3:43 remaining. Inside handoff goes to Dyer, and Dyer is held to a 4-yard gain, and that's a moral victory of sorts.
Well, it really is. He was hit and stacked up, and then he was gang tackled. And he only picked up, Tim, I don't know if he picked up 4. It looks more like 3 to me, but that was one of the better jobs the Crabbers have done defensively. And, of course, nothing will fire your defense up any better than when the defense does something.
Clock continues to move. We're down to a little more than 3 minutes to go in the first half. Second down and 7 for the Hornets.
Well, they got 66 in the backfield.
Yep, they put him in there as a lead blocker many times. This is Dyer, and he is stacked up at about the 29, maybe the 30-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 4 for the Hornets. Arnie Powell looking over to the sideline. The play coming in from Carter, the head coach.
Well, the clock is running, but it will stop. They've got 2 timeouts, as you alluded to, but they will also stop if they get a first down. But this is a big play for Hampton, because if Hampton can hold them here, that'll force them to punt. And you know Hampton can score quickly.
Powell gives to Dyer, and Dyer will not get the first down. He is tripped up by Mark Baycoat, amongst others. There's Donnie Green in on the stop as well.
I tell you, Donnie Green is an inspirational leader on that team, both offensively and defensively.
So the defense holds, and that's one of the few times they have prevented Dion Dyer from getting the first down in a running situation.
And they are kicking into that stiff wind, Tim.
Clock continues to move. Ronald Curry will be the lone deep back for the Crabbers. Joe Verdi will be on to try the punt, standing at about his 18-yard line. Gets a good snap. A little bit of a rush from the Crabbers. Kick is off the side of his foot, takes a Hampton roll, and is grabbed out of bounds at the Hampton 49-yard line by the Hornets. So the Crabbers, that ball kind of caught like a golf ball would, and when it hit the green, it spun backwards.
Well, you know, the first kick did that way, but there was a Hornet right there to catch it on the bounce. This time it got by the Deep Creek Hornets and gave great position for the Hampton Crabbers, and we have seen them with 1:28, 1 time out, Tim. They've got plenty of time to put some points on the board.
Clock will not start until the ball is snapped. 1:28 remaining in the first half. Crabbers leading 6-0 with the ball at their 49. One setback, that is Smith. Curry wants to throw, and incomplete. A diving attempt at the 25-yard line, almost good, but couldn't hold on to it. Looks like that might have been, let's see if I can pick up.
That might have been Hawkins, Tim, and number 19.
No, that was Christopher Ricks, number 21.
Number 19 went for the ball the same time that Ricks did, and they ran into each other. That's Teray Frost, a junior.
We're going to return to Oscar Smith High School for the conclusion of the first half after a brief timeout. So while we were away, a penalty has been assessed, a holding call against the Crabbers, moving the ball all the way back to the Hampton 36-yard line. On the option play, Curry keeping, has Ricks trailing. Curry stumbles and gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and then about 3 more yards on top of that.
It looked like he was down, Tim, and he stumbled and still picked up about 5 or 6 more yards. But that holding penalty, the reason it was such a long, it was more than 10 yards because it happened in the backfield, and it's a spot foul, and now the clock is running with 55, 54, and Hampton is it's a second down.
The Crabbers are not hurrying very much, although they do get up to the line of scrimmage relatively quickly. 42 seconds, clock moving. Curry looking, has a man out of the backfield. This pass is thrown incomplete to Kenny Crawford at the 30-yard line. Again, just a little bit low. And on that previous play, Christopher Ricks was shaken up. When he dove for the ball, he landed on the ball. And so many times what will happen is your wind gets knocked out of you. Here's the run just of the play before last when Ronald Curry on the option kept the ball and turned it upfield. And one of the problems we're having, we want to make you aware of the fact our slow motion is being handled by our director as well. He's doing a yeoman job at both ends.
And he can't do both at once?
Well, it's difficult because the slow motion machine is about 10 feet away from where he normally sits.
Well, he's going to have to get his skates on.
I think he has them. The Crabbers
those inline skates are regular.
Crabbers have taken their final timeout here in the first half. It comes with a little less than 35 seconds remaining. As you watch Curry, watch this move as he cuts to the outside. He's going to get a hit, and it looks like he's going to go down right there. Okay, now that's the yard marker. Now watch, one. As we keep it rolling, he falls forward, still maintaining his balance.
Well, that's about 5 yards right there.
It looks like almost 7 additional yards after it looked like he was going to go down. I mean, amazing balance this young man has.
Amazing athlete.
And and if you're ready for this, folks, those of you who may not know this, Ronald Curry is as good a basketball player as he is a football player.
Well, there goes the train. I guess we're close to the tracks on here. Is that the midnight special?
That's the midnight special. And the Crabbers are hoping that it's going to pull out of here with a victory in about an hour or so. And a lot of football to be played in the meantime, as we still have 35 seconds remaining in the first half. Crabbers 3rd down and about 7. Curry rolling, looking downfield. Wants to go deep. He does. He's got a man open. That's Hawkins.
Oh, what a catch by Ahmad Hawkins.
Ahmad Hawkins.
I see no flags.
47-yard pass to Hawkins in the end zone in full stride.
And you have a stunned Deep Creek sideline over here. They are sitting down and they are stunned. I did not know that's who he was throwing the ball to. I saw somebody else I thought was open. But Hawkins has got great speed. Tim, we saw him last week. He was limping a little bit, but it doesn't show like he's doing any limping tonight.
25.7 seconds remaining in the first half. A 47-yard pass from Ronald Curry to Ahmad Hawkins. Now they'll go for 2 after having missed the one-pointer earlier. Rolling, looking. Now Curry will reverse his field, picks up a block, and he is down, will not get the extra point, as he was nailed in the 2-point attempt. But nonetheless, the Crabbers have taken a 12-0 lead. The second one, a 47-yard pass with 25.7 seconds remaining for the touchdown. That ball was thrown from 50 yards
to the back of the end zone.
To the back of the end zone, on the money.
And online, I mean, that thing had a lot of zip on it.
We'll get a chance to see it again. Here's the replay. And we'll watch it. We'll have plenty of time to watch it.
Yeah, well. Got plenty of time. They're not even lined up to kick yet.
He is rolling.
Roll.
Yep. Now you can see he's got that moving pocket, which he's been using throughout the first half here.
Notice how well he can square his shoulders, Timmy. Nice follow through, and that ball is right on the money. Got good air under it. Of course, he's got to, but that wind behind him does not seem to affect him.
And here's Hawkins in the end zone, about 5 yards in, right on the fingertips. Hawkins between the goalposts for the touchdown.
Over so his back hit and the ball didn't come down first. Great job. If we can have our return back director, appreciate it.
That was Hawkins' 14th touchdown of the season.
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, Scotty can't do everything.
Well, I don't. He lost it. Okay.
Well, we'll figure that part out. We have no audio return, but we'll get it back. All right, the Crabbers with a short kickoff, taken at about the 33-yard line. So the return by Sykes, Angelo Sykes, the senior, out to the Deep Creek 42-yard line, where they'll set up with just 19.5 seconds remaining.
The clock will start as soon as the ball is set.
No, not until it's snapped, actually, I believe. All right, now it'll go.
Yeah, we're running.
And in motion is Frost. Inside handoff, quick hitter for Dyer. He's going to get to the outside. It'll be a foot race. Baycoat is the only man in long. Well, he had another guy over there that might stop him. He does so with 4.3 seconds remaining. Dyer has that kind of explosiveness. You just don't know.
Well, Tim, I'm impressed with the move he put on the back.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was getting ready to tackle him. He did a great move. But they've got to call timeout, which they've done. That gives them one timeout remaining, but with 4.3 seconds, Tim, what do? You gotta kick a field goal into the wind, or you're gonna try to get a touchdown.
Well, interestingly, the timeout has been called by Deep Creek, and the Crabbers have gone on the far side to huddle. And then some of the Deep Creek guys went over to listen in on their huddle.
What are you guys going to talk about? Where are you going after the game?
That's right. No,
how was your turkey? Mine was great.
Mine was great. Well, Dyer has put Deep Creek in a position to get some points here in the first half. It's been Crabbers 2 touchdowns, no extra points, 12-0. 4.3 seconds remaining in the first half. If the Deep Creek Hornets could get a score, this would really help get that momentum back into their favor.
Well, they're not going to go for the field goal. I would have to think they're going to run if they don't run the draw play to Dyer, they've got to put the ball in the air.
Powell can throw and he can run. He is going to run it. And he falls down at the 7-yard line with no time on the clock. There's a penalty flag. It's against Deep Creek, so
that the defense.
That will end the first half.
That's the end of the first half.
They are discussing the options with Hampton. Of course, Hampton will refuse the penalty. Holding is the call against Deep Creek. It's refused, and that is the half.
I'm assuming that McCooley is talking. We don't pick up anything.
We're not hearing anything. You're right.
Well, I hear you, and I hear, what's his name down there at the channel 13?
All right, we are at halftime at Oscar Smith High School. The championship of the Eastern Region Division 5. Hampton 12, Deep Creek nothing. We'll return to Oscar Smith High School for the third quarter of action after this brief timeout.
You're watching WH Cable Channel 5, educational television for our community of learners.
Anytime, Scotty, my boy.
You see Ronald Curry rolling out, looking in the end zone. This is the touchdown just before the end of the first half. That is on the Hampton side of the 50-yard line. That ball 50 yards on the money, right in the hands of Ahmad Hawkins for the second touchdown to make the score 12-0 at halftime. Of course, the earlier touchdown we're still disputing up here as to who caught the ball. I said Kenny Crawford caught it, but I believe it's possible that Darrell Smith, number 32 rather than 12, was the young man that pulled it down, and hopefully we'll decide that question before we get through out of here tonight. In any event, here are the halftime statistics. The Hampton Crabbers leading 12-0 on the 2 touchdown passes from Ronald Curry. First downs are even between the two squads. Passing yards, all Hampton, 184. No passing yards. 2 pass attempts by Arnie Powell. Incomplete on both. Ronald Curry was 7 out of 16. He was intercepted one time. The rushing, 50 yards on 9 carries for the Crabbers, 27 carries for 181 yards for the ground-oriented Deep Creek Hornets. The penalties pretty even, 2 for 15 against Hampton, 3 for 25 against the Hornets. Hampton has not fumbled the ball. Deep Creek has turned it over 1 time. So each team with 1 turnover in the first half. But here's a phenomenal statistic, and if you've been watching the first half, you can stop and reflect on this, and then you'll say, yeah, that's right. Curry has accounted for 227 of the offensive yards for the Crabbers.
I would say he's done a yeoman's job that first half.
45 of the 50 rushing yards and 184 yards in the air for Mr. Ronald Curry, the sophomore phenomenon from Hampton High School.
But I tell you, that pass that he threw just before the end of the half, and the catch by young Mr. Ahmad Hawkins, that was great. He laid himself out, caught the ball, and when he came down, rolled over in the air, so he came down on his back, so there was no chance for him to fumble that ball.
The Hampton Crabbers defense has been doing a great job as well. Now, I'll tell you that Dyer has done extremely well in the first half, and he has 15 carries for 150 yards. 138 yards, excuse me. So Dyer has made his presence very much known in this game, but it's been the running attack of Deep Creek and the passing attack of the Crabbers, and so far the Crabbers are winning that battle. But 24 minutes remain in this contest, and don't go anywhere because this game is far from over.
Well, it sure is, and Hampton will start off on defense. They will kick the ball, so I'm sure they'll take what wind there is to our right. They will kick with that wind going to the left for the third quarter, so that means Mr. Curry will be throwing into the wind during the fourth quarter. From up here, it looks like the wind has not changed that much. It's still gusting, but it has not seemed to affect Ron Curry passing the ball, whether it's into the wind or not. There were some balls that were passed. I heard there's no train around here, but they'll never get me to believe that there's no train.
The fact of the matter is that Hampton went right to the air immediately into the wind. I mean, right from the first time they had the ball, they threw against the wind. So the wind has not been a determining factor whether or not Hampton has decided to throw the ball. So we're having the ceremonial discussion at the center of the field. Mick McCullough, the referee, is discussing the various situations with the players. Of course, as you've already mentioned, the Deep Creek Hornets will have the ball into the wind to start the third quarter. And again, we want to welcome Channel 23 in Chesapeake to our coverage for tonight's contest. We're a little bit under the staff that we normally have. Jerome Young, one of our key camera people, is out. Of course, we've had some able substitutions. We're also working a little handicapped in the truck tonight. We're a man short there on the instant replay.
Are you saying Scotty's handicapped?
No, not at all.
I'm glad you not said that. We will pick a player of the game from the Hampton Crabbers tonight, and that player receive a shirt and a plaque. The shirt comes from Buckwalter Engraving, located in Kickoff Road. Dave Buckwalter, the owner. The shirt comes from the Islander Hardware and Sporting Goods, located in Pocosin. John Roberts is the owner out there.
Well, this is the final half of the season for one of these two teams. The winner will advance to the Northern Virginia semifinals. They'll go up north next Saturday afternoon for the semifinals, and the loser is finished for the year. This kickoff is a good one all the way down to the 5-yard line.
A great job that time by number 7 for Crabbers. Gaddafi McKenzie on the stop along with some other Crabbers.
That was Terrence Mack returning the kickoff out to the Deep Creek 25-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Hornets.
Well, that's the first time we've seen the Crabbers kick deep in a long time, but you got that wind behind them, almost got it in the end zone.
So the Hornets, led by Dyer with his 138 yards in the first half, and Arnie Powell doing a great job of directing the attack. The handoff on the inside, that goes to Terrence Mack, who returned the kickoff a moment ago. And Mack picks up 4 yards out to the 29-yard line.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustments both of these coaches made, because they do make adjustments during halftime. The Crabbers, of course, well, starting with the defense, their main job, of course, is to stop Dyer, and the Hornets came out, gave the ball to one of the wingmen.
Well, there's no way that the Hornets are going to go to Dyer on every play, but I guarantee you he'll get it 80% of the time. Powell running and gets away from one would-be tackler and then gets out close to a first down. He's tripped up what would appear to be about a yard shy of the first down.
Well, that was a great job of getting away. That was Donnie Green, Tim, that almost had him around the ankles.
34-yard line is where he got to. He needs to get to the 35, so it'll be 3rd down and about a yard.
And who do you think they give the ball to?
Well, I know who I would give it to.
I know who I'd give it to.
Young man Dyer almost scored a huge touchdown in the waning seconds of the first half, and he was stopped, and then Arnie Powell couldn't get in the end zone as time ran out. and preserved a 12-0 lead for the Crabbers as we go into the third quarter. This is Dyer, and Dyer is going to be very close to the first down. I believe he got it. His forward progress will get it by maybe a half a yard.
Well, all he had to do was get across the 35, and it looks like if that is the 35, and I'm trying to catch my yard markers, and you're right, we are spoiled over at Darling Stadium. You have no problem finding them.
Well, they're going to, in fact, apparently bring out the chains, but no, they've signaled first down, so we're all set. Got a shaken up player for Deep Creek. That is number 66, Brian Wingate, the junior, who is coming off the field rather gingerly.
Yeah, he's got a twisted an ankle or something, but Steve Verdi, number 51, goes in. I'm sorry.
10-10 left to go. I was trying to help you get out.
Had a brain freeze or something happened there. Just everything stopped, and I was in slow motion. And Scotty didn't have it running.
Speaking of freeze, it's cold, but this press box here at Oscar Smith High School, great job the folks have done here at this very fine facility. We appreciate all of the assistance that our crew has been given in bringing you this contest. Dyer just bulls his way out to the 44, 45-yard line, almost 10 yards.
You got to take his feet out from under him. He just keeps running and running.
This again will be close to a first down. I believe he is going to be short of the first. Looks like they need to get to about the 46, and they got him to about the 45-yard line. They look it over, and now they will not measure.
No, he's got to get on the other side of the 45. But McCullough was having trouble seeing the ball. All the players were standing, see the chain. I mean, the players are in his way.
Second down and short for the Hornets.
The big job here for the Patriots. I mean, the Hornets, Tim. They've got to put some points on the board, and you got to almost do it at the beginning of the second half.
Dyer gets what would appear to be another first down for the Hornets.
Very important drive for them.
Mick McCullough indicates a first down for Deep Creek. 9:43 remaining in the third quarter. Hampton leading 12-0. If you joined us late, I'm Tim Cole along with Bob Hintz. The Hampton Crabbers with 2 long touchdown passes, one of 27 and the other of 47-yarder from Ronald Curry in the first half. Both extra point tries were no good. Powell trying to turn the corner. He is chased and is finally spun out of bounds at midfield. And again, Powell, an excellent runner with the ball.
And he's got a lot of speed. Some of the Crabbers are trying to catch him from behind and are not taking a appropriate angle. And he is got some speed. For 6'5", he's a good-sized young man. Looks like he picked up, what, maybe 4?
And the Hornets now have continued to go with no huddle. They are going up to the line without a huddle, trying to wear down that Hampton defense. Looks like some premature motion, almost picked off. Looked like Darrell White.
Number 32.
Darrell Smith, rather. Darrell Smith, number 32 for the Crabbers, almost got a hand on that ball.
Well, Tim, I thought the wingman went in motion towards the line of scrimmage, and I think that's what you picked up.
That's what I was noticing. It appeared that he started in motion towards the line of scrimmage before the ball was snapped, but there was no penalty flag.
This is a big play for the Hornets.
Third down at about 6.5, almost 7 for the Hornets, right at midfield. Man in motion is Mack. Powell goes back, wants to pass, and he is going to be sacked. A flag down in the area which you might see a holding call, but a flag is down. We'll wait and let the officials call it.
Donnie Green and number 60, Groggins combined to make that stop, and it's illegal. You're going to take the down, make them punt it.
It was an illegal block, was in fact the call. Blocking below the waist is the penalty.
I don't know, Tim, because look where the flag is. It's a spot foul. You may think about taking that.
Well, you'd back them up considerably from that spot. As you said, the foul occurred about 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It looks like the Hampton coaches on the far side are waving off the penalty, and I agree with that call. I think you don't give them another chance because
the spot of the ball is they're going. That's a good.
Yeah, see,
good
he
call.
was sacked, so they had a loss on the play anyway. So why not? It's now 4th down and 12, almost 13. So why not make them punt the ball? You don't want to give them another chance because Dyer will break 48 yards on you and you're looking at a 1st and goal. So, I mean, I don't want to be intimidated by him, but this young man impresses me.
Donnie Green is playing a smart ball game. He started to go outside, saw the young man break inside.
Ball is going to be downed at the Hampton 37-yard line, so a relatively short kick for Deep Creek. And again, into that wind, so that was a big factor in the distance. So the Crabbers now will get the ball for the first time in the second half, and they'll have the wind at their back. Ronald Curry, 6 of 17 in the first half, 1 INT, just his 3rd of the season, but his 2nd in 2 games. So he's having a bit of a negative streak in that sense. But he had 7 completions, and he had about 3 or 4 drop passes in the first half. One of those was a touchdown that Blizzard could have gotten. This is Smith. Daryl Smith all the way down to the 42-yard line.
Had not run that play all night, Tim. I had not seen that play all night. Have you?
No, that's the quick hitter, and that's what ate up Granby last week. Daryl Smith with better than 150 yards against Granby, and that's really only about the 3rd time tonight he's gotten the call.
Well, he made good use of it. That takes the ball all the way down to looks like the 41.
That, in fact, is Daryl Smith's first carry of the night. Play action. Curry gets away from a would-be tackler. Rolling, looking, throws. Got a man wide open. This is Blizzard all the way down inside the 10-yard line.
Blizzard was so open, Tim. I think he was wanting to know if he had taken a bath. He says, what do I stink or something? Nobody's on me. Great job of getting open and finding the open man, scrambling by Ronald Curry.
The line of scrimmage was the 40. They set it up at the 6-yard line. A 34-yard completion from Ronald Curry to Bobby Blizzard. This is the previous play. This will be the quick hitter that Smith just broke right
through the line of scrimmage. Just a great job. Outruns a couple of would-be tacklers.
Back to the live action. Smith up the middle again. And here you see the replay. This is the finish of the replay. Smith getting down to the 41-yard line. And now back to the live action. The Crabbers have the ball inside the 5 at about the 3-yard line. 2nd down and goal.
Well, that was Smith on another quick handoff up the middle, picked up looked like about 3 yards.
2nd and goal at the Deep Creek 3. 7:25 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Hampton ahead 12-0. Curry rolling, looking, stops. Now reverses his field, trying to pick up a blocker. Looking in the end zone, throws, and it's incomplete. I believe that was Kenny Crawford. Or
that was 21.
21, Christopher Ricks. The intended receiver, a good pass, but it was not caught by Ricks. And it stops the clock with 7:12 to go, and it's 3rd and goal at the 3.
But don't you know that there's some frustrated defensive linemen out there, Tim? They knew they had Ronald Curry for a sack that time. And the Hampton's going to call a timeout, Tim. They want to make sure of this next play. They want to have to rush it. Who do we got helping us sponsor tonight's game?
Well, we want to recognize some of our sponsors. Zoom's Sitco with 5 convenient locations. They award the Eagle Award to the Hampton athletes for their academic achievements, and we always encourage our sponsors to do that. Your printing needs can be taken care of by Gear Up Printing. It's Christmas time around the corner. If you need some of those special invitations or whatever it might be, give Gear Up Printing a call. And also Hampton Chevrolet, locally owned business, and they are anxious for you to remember, give the United Way. Hampton Chevrolet at 1073 West Mercury Boulevard. And while we're at it,
well, we got Forbes and Broadwell, attorney at laws, for all your needs in the legal sense. Call Steve Forbes or Mark Broadwell.
What about these guys? Are they 3rd quarter?
No, we do them 4th quarter.
Oh, okay. All right, the Crabbers now looking at a crucial 3rd and goal.
Well, that coach that we saw going out there, Tim, was the defensive coordinator, John Dukes. He's coming running off the field right there at the bottom of your screen. He was the head coach at Indian River at one time, they tell me.
Hawkins wide to the left. Crawford to the right. Curry rolling and looking, throws back across in the end zone, hits the goalpost, incomplete. As Curry is still on his back, I believe he's all right. He's just a little slow to get up.
Is there a flag on the play?
I don't see any flags, so
okay.
I think that's not a problem on the play. It will be 4th down and goal now, and if you're Hampton, who's had some difficulty with the kicking game, this is almost a sure field goal attempt. But now there
is a penalty.
There is a penalty flag.
I thought there
Okay.
was. I never saw the flag, but I heard it must be holding. So now it's still 3rd down, Tim.
Okay. So Mick McCullough's microphone is no longer functional, or at least we can't hear it. But it is a 3rd down again. It's 3rd and goal, but this time now the ball all the way out to the 17-yard line after the holding call. 7:05 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Hawkins wide to the right. Kenny Crawford to the near side. Ronald Curry straight back. Steps up in the pocket, looking in the end zone. Throws, and is picked off at the goal line. And the Deep Creek Hornets will take over on the interception, the 2nd of the night for Ronald Curry.
And Adam Lively, number 55, the sophomore center, is the one that made the stop. Takes it out to about the 15-yard line.
So the Hornets stop a crucial 3rd and goal. The Crabbers had it 3rd and goal at the 3-yard line, but then after the penalty, had a 3rd and long for the goal to go. And the interception for the Hornets stops the threat of Hampton. They hold on to a 12-0 lead, a precarious 12-0 lead, I hasten to add. This is Dyer, and Dyer breaks into the open. And he is tripped up, but not before he gets all the way out to the 41-yard line.
Gaddafi McKenzie making the stop, Tim, and he got him around the ankles, but he would have picked up some more yardage had he not.
Nothing pumps your offense better than the defense playing well, and vice versa. So the Hornets getting a new breath of life after the interception. And the Deep Creek Hornets side of the field comes alive. This is Dyer. Dyer breaks through the line across midfield. Check that he is not at midfield, but rather at the Deep Creek 47-yard line, a gain of about 8 on the play. Second down and a long 2 for the Hornets. Deion Dyer has been a one-man wrecking crew for Deep Creek tonight. But the difference to this point is the fact that the Crabbers have been able to keep him out of the end zone. This is Dyer again, and Dyer breaks into the open. This young man runs like he's 140 pounds instead of close to 240. He just rolls over you.
Tim, one thing about the Hornets tonight is they have been moving the ball well inside the between the 20s, but once they get down to the 20s, the Hampton defense seems to stiffen up a little bit. They're bending, but they're not breaking.
Well, they need to stiffen up quite a bit now as they're down to the Hampton 40-yard line, and Dyer is just chewing them up, and he carries again for
Fumble that
about
time.
5, a loose ball, and I believe Deep Creek has covered it.
As big number 76 came up with the ball that time for the Hornets, Tim, that's George Mincy. He's a 252 senior.
That's the 3rd fumble, but only 1 lost fumble on the evening for the Hornets. They've fumbled it 3 times, but only given it to Hampton on 1 occasion. The clock continues to move. 4:44 in the 3rd period. Deep Creek driving against the Crabbers after the interception at the Hampton 38-yard line. Second down and about 7.
Inside handoff.
They reverse, and stacked up after a short gain, Terrence Mack gets down to the Hampton 35-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down now. 3rd down and about 5 for the Hornets. You almost feel that they could give it to Dyer and he'd get the yardage every time, but the young man needs a breather every now and then, and you got to keep the defense honest. So his supporting cast gets the call occasionally, but Dyer is the big guy. Third down, about 5, and if there is a big play in the third quarter, this would be one of them. Crabbers can ill afford to give up a touchdown here and let Deep Creek get back in this. Powell rolling, looking, has some running room, and he'll get the first down and then some, right down the sideline. And did he get in? Yes, touchdown.
He did get a job. I thought he may get out of bounds, but he did a great job of tight-roping down that left sideline.
So Arnie Powell, he had a 27-yarder last week against Kickoff, and this one is 35 yards. Joe Verdi will be on to try the extra point and try and cut the Hampton lead down to a 5-point difference. The kick is up, and the kick is long enough, and it is good. So the Crabbers, after threatening to take a 3-touchdown lead, have seen the interception lead to a touchdown. There you see the story.
Well, that's one thing that Hampton has done all year, Tim, has been able to take turnovers and turn them into points. And they found that this is what the Hornets probably have done also. But what a great run by the quarterback, number 9, Arnie Powell. And, Tim, he's just a junior, 6'5", 195.
So Powell goes in from 35 yards out. Joe Verdi adds the extra point. And the Crabbers now lead by a very slim margin of 5 points. The Crabber offense will be called upon to retaliate here. They were driving when the Deep Creek Hornets defense did the job. Now the Crabbers will be forced to do the same. Joe Verdi will tee it up and kick it off. Take it at the 3, it took at the 8-yard line. This is Chris Ricks. Ricks trying to get to the outside, is tripped up at about the 32-yard line.
Nice run back for Chris Ricks, Tim. He is a sprinter, and he showed some of that sprinter speed there when he got that ball.
Here is the touchdown run by Powell, as you'll see him rolling out. I believe this was a run all the way. He really never looked up to see if he could pass. Right at this point, he's across the line of scrimmage. And again, we apologize. The fans stand in front of us here, and then Powell just tight-roped it down the sideline.
Great job of kind of put it in second gear.
And watch as he lunges. Well, we'll get back to that. He lunges for the goal line to score the touchdown and just got it across. So again, problem was we couldn't have shown it to you in any event because of the stands, the fans in the stands. These guys paid their money to get in. They get to stand up and cheer for their team, right?
Absolutely. That was a handoff that time. Look up the middle. I think it was Smith on that last carry.
Less than 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. The momentum has swung to the direction of the Deep Creek Hornets. The Crabbers now need to get it back. Curry wants to throw, does. He's got Blizzard open, can't get it to him, however. Bobby Blizzard dove for the ball at the Hornet 45-yard line, just couldn't come up with it. It stops the clock with 2:34 remaining. It's 3rd down and 7 for the Crabbers.
Tim, again, you have pointed out many times about running to your left and throwing on the run. It is always a tough job to do. Ronald Curry does it as well as anybody. Just led Bobby Blizzard a little too much that time on that pass. 3rd and long. That's a big 3rd down for the Crabbers because you want to pick up the 1st down, try to get take some of that momentum away from the Hornets.
Curry on the season has better than 700 yards as a rusher. Throws, got a man wide open. 1st down, Crawford. Still on his feet, out close to midfield.
And Ronald Curry doesn't care who he throws the ball to. I mean, he does not have a favorite receiver that you can tell because he'll throw it to whoever is open. Nice job that time by Kenny Crawford. And again, we apologize if we said that Kenny Crawford scored a touchdown if it was Daryl Smith, and we apologize to Daryl if it was the other way around.
And we were told that several people up here, including the Nobel Prize winner Mike Keach, told us that it was Kenny Jackson. So we're still debating the second touchdown. First out for the Crabbers. Curry rolling, looking, gets away from one tackler, gets away from another one. He's across midfield down to the 40. He steps away from yet another one all the way down to the 33-yard line.
Well, he did a great job of splitting two would-be tacklers that time and just kind of shot in between them. Nobody got a clean shot at him.
It is amazing what this young man does when he's running with the ball. It looks like
he's got a 360-degree vision.
You almost expect him to always get away from his would-be tackler. Now, a couple of times tonight he didn't, but for the most part he does. It's just amazing.
Well, and it's got to be frustrating if you're a defensive lineman. You've been chasing this guy all night, and you haven't caught him many times.
Now, there is Jackson lined wide to the left. That's the young man who we think may have gotten the touchdown as well. This is Smith. He's going to score.
Oh, what a job that time by Daryl Smith. Whoa.
Daryl
right up the middle, Tim.
33 yards. Let's look for a penalty flag. I don't see one.
Just when you think you got the Hampton back on their heels, a 3rd and long, they pick up the first down. They pick up another long pass, and then a beautiful run by Daryl Smith.
The Crabbers probably will go for the 2 yet again. Daryl Smith from 33 yards out, right up the middle with that quick hitter again. And the Crabbers will try for 2, leading 18-7. And now Curry will call a timeout. It looked like he was trying to draw them offside, but it didn't get the job done. And now the Crabbers burn another timeout.
I don't know if we have that touchdown on replay or not, and we apologize to our viewers. Here we come. Scotty is doing both things, and you just watch, Tim. It's just that quick hitter right up the middle. He's great. You heard that? We'll talk about it a little later, but watch him. Looks like he has stopped right here, and he breaks through.
Well, let's give the credit to the offensive line.
Yes.
They're going to make a hole right here. Look at the blocking, and Smith just bursts through that defensive line.
And then you can see big number 77 in your pictured blocking, and he makes a nice cut here to the left. It looks like he's going to go to the left and then cuts back to the right. What a nice job.
Well, I mean, he did. He made a stop on a dime cut to the outside, and after that, nobody even got close to him. That looks like
a good ball player, that number 11, Tim. We've called his name Terrence Mack. Has done a good job all night, but it's one time when Daryl Smith had the upper hand.
Smith has got some speed as the young man has put it in the end zone. Thank you, Scotty, and if you give us our return back.
Well, and I just want to tell everybody that Scotty says this isn't all bad.
Yes.
He said it's not all bad, Tim. He has lost 12 pounds.
All right, they'll go for 2 now. They give the ball to Smith. I don't see a signal yet. No, now they say he did not get in. So the Crabbers trying to run it in, and you see some of the expression on the coaches. Nope.
Oh no, every time we're coming and going. Here, we had it, we didn't.
We had it. We're having some difficulty with our return, and our director is working feverishly. There we go. Now we've got it, Scotty.
Director / engineer / slow motion guy, inline skater.
I'm telling you, great job. Scotty Bowers, our director tonight, and our engineer and our slow-mo replay. And again, we want to thank our Channel 5 crew for giving up a good chunk of their holiday weekend to be on hand to bring you this contest. 1.5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter.
And Johnny Sykes, who's right here in front of us, a former Hampton cheerleader, is thrilled with the game going so far, but she's doing a good job on our camera right here in front of us.
Crabbers ahead 18-7 as we go into the last 1.5 minutes of the 3rd quarter. As the scoring pace has picked up a bit now. The teams were scoreless through the 1st quarter. Hampton scored twice in the 2nd quarter. And now we got whistles. We got an offside penalty. This one won't even get off the boards, as apparently the Hampton Crabbers were offsides on the kickoff.
Got somebody new kicking off too, which kind of throws, makes your timing a little different.
So far now, Curry with 234 yards passing and 68 yards rushing for a total of 297 total yards unofficially here in the ballgame. Ronald Curry putting on a display as he did last week against Granby. But the Crabbers, difficulty with those extra point conversions. Those things can come back to really haunt you later on.
Well, and Tim, and I don't know that Shepard didn't get hurt during that block.
Wow.
It's in the end zone.
In and out of the end zone.
Whoa. Where's this guy been all year?
I don't know, but let's sign him up. Who's kicking off now? Is that 42 that was kicking? That's Hollier.
Yeah, that's Hollier. And he's just a sophomore, and I think they found a kicker.
Got a new kickoff, man. That was from 5 yards further back. And he just shot a line drive into the end zone. The Deep Creek Hornets didn't even have an opportunity to get back and return it. There you see the story. The visitors, the Hampton Crabbers, with 1 timeout remaining with 18 points. And the Deep Creek Hornets with 7 points and all 3 of their timeouts remaining. All right, the Hornets now will try to regain the momentum.
We got the offensive lineman moving before the snap of the center. That play didn't even get to be counted.
So they'll back up the Hornets by 5.
And we apologize that Mick McCullough's mic isn't working, but
in some ways, we're sorry.
I wouldn't say Mick does a good job, and we appreciate it. We pick on him a lot because he does like the microphone.
And I truly mean it with all sincerity. He's as nice a guy as you ever want to meet. Well, and I love to give him a hard time about it.
Well, in the Granby game, he was up here in the booth with us and helped us with a couple of calls we weren't sure of.
All right, 1st and 15 now for the Hornets. And
great defensive play by Green.
Terrence Mack making the turn out to the 18-yard line.
Green and number 33, Derek White, just kind of sandwiched the runner that time. And who was that?
The ball carrier was Mack, Terrence Mack. 2nd down and about 12. We're down to 1 minute in the 3rd quarter. The winner of this game will go to Northern Virginia for the state semifinals next Saturday afternoon. That's Mack in motion. Powell keeping the ball. And he is almost tripped up as he gets to the line of scrimmage. And then finally, an excellent effort on the part of Arnie Powell getting the 1st down.
He really did. It looked like it was Ronald Curry that tried to catch him in a backfield. And young man has got some pretty good speed.
Arnie Powell picks up about 13 on the play. Well, actually, they give him 14 yards as they mark the ball now at the 32-yard line of Deep Creek. The out-of-bounds play stops the clock with 38 seconds to go in the 3rd.
Well, that was, 12? It was first, 2nd and 12 anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2nd and 12. He picked up about 13, maybe even 14 on the play. Double wing T. Now the man in motion is Frost. And this is Dyer. And Dyer just won't go down. All the way out to the 50-yard line. Dion Dyer just won't stop moving those legs.
And that was number 7 of Hampton, McKenzie. And Tim McKenzie, only 162 pounds, 5'8", and he was hanging on to his leg for dear life.
And being dragged all the while. Dion Dyer is one of the most powerful runners I have ever seen. He doesn't give you a lot of finesse, but he's got great quickness, and it is just so powerful. Ball just shy of midfield. 1st down for the Hornets. On the inside handoff. This is Mack.
And Ronald Curry.
Frost, the carrier.
And that was Ronald Curry, Tim, that made a great job of tackling him. That's like an inside trap play, almost like a reverse. And Tim, that's the end of the third quarter.
Terry Frost with a gain of 15 on the play, and that does signal the end of the third quarter. So after 3 quarters, it's Hampton 18, Deep Creek 7, but the Hornets are driving. They're at the Hampton 36-yard line with a first down. You want to talk about your player of the game?
Oh, yeah, I'm so excited. We got some people that have really come up and are showing themselves as potential player of the game. We will pick a player of the game from Hampton tonight, and that player will receive a plaque and a shirt. Plaque comes from Buckwalter Engraving, located at Kickoff Road. Dave Buckwalter, the owner, call 723-6067. And the shirt comes from the Islander Hardware and Sporting Goods, located in Pocosin, where they can meet all your sports needs. Call Dave Chubb at 868-8467. John Roberts, the owner.
The Grabbers holding on to an 11-point lead as we get set to start the fourth quarter. The ball will be at the Hampton 36-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Hornets of Deep Creek High School. This is Tim Cole along with Bob Hintz. Hope you're enjoying our coverage here on both Channel 5 in Hampton and Channel 23 in Chesapeake. And again, we welcome you to our coverage in Chesapeake, our first opportunity to share a broadcast with you. Of course, again, we want to thank Channel 23 for providing us in Hampton with coverage of the Deep Creek Kickoff game last week. A great job. That's an excellent crew on Channel 23. All right, the Hornets set to get the fourth quarter underway. Mack is the man in motion.
Dyer is the man with the ball.
And he is still being wrestled and finally taken down after about 7 yards. Probably closer to 8 when they get through marking it.
Mark Baycoat, one of the tacklers on it, just a host of Hampton Crabbers. He's so hard to bring down.
Gain of 8 by Dion Dyer.
And you got to take your head off to that offensive line, Tim. They're doing a good job blocking, too, for the Hornets.
27-yard line of Hampton. Dyer gets the call, and Dyer gets the first down to the 20. Another 7-yard chunk of yardage.
You wonder sometimes why you give the ball to anybody else, but like you said, that young man gets tired just like anybody else. If you get tired, you have a tendency to maybe fumble the ball or not run as hard, and you could get hurt. So you have to keep the defense honest and give it to other people also.
To his credit, you know, I don't know what his fumble statistics are, but he hasn't even come close to coughing up the ball tonight. All the arms and shoulders that are grabbing at this young man, he just holds on for dear life. Does a great job.
Is that inside handoff again to Mack?
And a late flag comes down. Mack got back to the line of scrimmage and maybe a half a yard, but a penalty flag on the play.
I gave you some statistics, Tim, for that. He may have some fumbles and all for Dyer. Anything, huh? Okay. Well, yeah, we got fumbles lost and whatever. All you got to do is look.
That's for the team, though.
Oh, okay.
So the penalty moves the Deep Creek Hornets back.
30-yard line.
Holding was the call against the Hornets. At the Hampton 30. First down and 20. Powell still has the ball, looking, throws an incomplete, almost intercepted, and then almost received by the
number 32
deep man. That's Carlos Perry for the Hornets, but it goes incomplete.
And that young man's got a rifle for an arm. He threw that ball with a lot of zip on it.
That's just the 4th pass by Powell, and he has yet to complete a pass. It stops the clock with 10:21 remaining in the fourth quarter, and it brings up a second down and 20 at the Hampton 30-yard line. Hampton defense has been struggling in an effort to keep Dyer from picking up yardage. So far, they haven't been able to stop him, but they've been able to keep Deep Creek out of the end zone, except for that one time. Powell again wants to throw, throws deep into coverage, contact in the end zone, no penalty flag.
Both players were going for the ball, I guess. It was Curry.
That was Terrence Mack along with Ronald Curry. It looked like maybe Curry got pushed right toward the very end there, but...
Well, I didn't want to show too much favoritism.
No, well,
one team or the
I'm
other,
just talking about what it looked like, because there was some contact, but it could have been, and obviously the officials ruled it to be incidental contact.
Well, it looked like, from that point of view, that they may both have been going for the ball, which in that case, anybody can go for the ball.
Interesting point, Bob, is you're moving the ball extremely well with your running attack, and then after having no completions on the evening, you throw twice in a row and give yourself now a 3rd down and 20.
Well, so you're 1st and 20, and you try to pick it up with a pass where Dyer is. Watch the
great protection, and he completes the pass.
Perry was wide open.
Carlos Perry was wide open, and Arnie Powell picks a great time to complete his first pass of that evening. And that will be, I believe, enough for a 1st down. It'll be 1st and goal. So that's what they were trying to do. Even never let it be said, I try and second guess a coach like Carter. Jerry Carter has great credentials, and certainly I was just a bit surprised by the pass, but now 3 times in a row, and for Deep Creek, the 3rd time is the charm.
Well, you got to figure pretty soon you're going to complete one of them to somebody.
Well, Perry was wide open, and Powell made no mistake. Got it right on the money. 1st and goal at the 8. Who do you think gets the call? Dyer tripped up at the 3.
And that was Ronald Curry, Tim, on the bottom of the pile. He took his legs right out from under him, but he still goes forward for, 2 or 3 more yards, didn't he?
All the way down to about the 2-yard line. Clock becomes a bit of a factor now with 9:20, and it's moving. And again, we apologize if your picture is somewhat obscured, because we do have fans standing in the way of the camera. That's Dyer, stopped initially, but he was not to be denied.
He is really tough to bring down. Groggins hit him, stopped him, but he didn't take his feet out from under him, and he kept right on going. I apologize stepping on you. I stepped on my own, and I looked over and said, now, who did that?
Now, Deep Creek is in a situation here where if they go for 2,
then
it makes it a 3-point difference, and you almost have to go for 2 here, because you've got a 13.
You got to score a touchdown one way or the other. If you don't, you go for 1, you still got to score a touchdown. A field goal won't do any good. So you're right, they are going for 2.
And guess who I'd give the ball to if I were Deep Creek? You're going to see it right from the goal line, or actually from about the 5-yard line. And the fake to Dyer. Powell looking, throwing, and it is intercepted in the end zone, so it will go for naught, but it's not really that important, because you would have needed a touchdown in any event.
Well, in a way, now if Hampton kicks a field goal.
Oh, sure. I'm talking about if no other scores come from the Hampton Crabbers, and of course, if you're a Hampton fan now, you want to see a 9-minute and 6-second drive to finish out the game.
6 seconds.
That's how much time is left in the 4th quarter. Well, it's been a barn burner, and it is far from over, folks.
Well, it was this way last year, but just more points. It's
same idea, just the same explosiveness. See, you can see right there as Dyer was just not to be denied. He was stopped initially at the line of scrimmage, but after that, not to be. And again, we've lost our return. We're all set to go.
Well, and they're kicking off with the wind to their back, the Hornets.
And you might want to think about an onside kick. If you're Hampton, you got to be thinking about it. I wouldn't do it at this point. I wouldn't give Ronald Curry any more yardage than I have to, as far as how how well he has to go down the field. If you don't recover it, he's at midfield. So Bob Killen, my statistician to my left here, said, hey, what about an onside kick? So that's not a bad thought.
Killen's been known to go for the long shots.
But I do believe Verdi is going to go for the big kickoff with the wind behind him, and he does. It's not particularly long. Fielded by Ahmad Hawkins. And Hawkins still on his feet, finally taken down at about the 30-yard line of Hampton. All right, we'll return to Oscar Smith High School for the conclusion of our championship game after this brief timeout. First and 10 for the Crabbers. Ronald Curry back, looks to pass. He is trapped in the backfield, but gets away from a would-be tackler. Now into the open field, trying to pick up some blocking along the sideline. Gets a great block, and then is finally tripped up at the 45-yard line of Deep Creek.
Whoa, what a block he got. Who threw that block?
I couldn't start. I believe it was number 77 for the Crabbers.
It was either 77 or Bobby Blizzard.
Marcus Smith, number 77, might have been the young man that did it, but the big run by Ronald Curry all the way down to the Deep Creek 45-yard line.
And it looked like they had him in the backfield that time. How many yards was that?
24 yards on the run, and it looked for all the world that he was trapped in the backfield. But he just has some way of getting away from his tacklers. The Crabbers now with the clock continuing to move, 8 minutes to go. Curry gives to Smith. Darryl Smith hit hard as he gets close to the 42-yard line. And again, Deep Creek will hit you and they'll hurt you. They are a very physical team, and the Hampton Crabbers have to be very protective of that ball.
Well, Deep Creek is well coached, Tim. Team also, Tim, as the Hampton Crabbers.
I would say that you probably got two of the best coaching staffs in the Eastern region, if not the state of Virginia, on the field tonight. Gain on the last play of about 3. Let's call it 2nd down and 7 for the Crabbers. Curry rolling, still has the ball. Now cuts it up inside, gets away from another, got the first down, gets away from another one, 30, 25, all the way down to the 20-yard line.
He makes a cut and accelerates at the same time.
22 additional yards stacked on to his statistics. I'm going to ask Bob when he gets a chance to give me a total for Ronald Curry.
Get your calculator out, Kellen.
Down to the Deep Creek 20. 7:05. Each time he gets a first down, it lengthens their opportunity here. They're down inside right at the 20-yard line. 321 total yards for Mr. Ron Curry tonight so far. He's picked up 46 yards rushing in the last 2 plays. This is Christopher Ricks. Ricks into the open. He is down inside the 10.
It looked like he bought down to the 6 or 7.
Ronald Curry hands off to Chris Ricks, and Ricks gets a 1st and goal at the 7-yard line. You got to remember that 1st and goal a while ago when the Deep Creek Hornets stiffened and then took the ball right down the field.
And also they tried to pass it in after the first run.
This is the last run by Ronald Curry. This is the one that got him down to the 20. Back to the live action. 1st and goal for the Crabbers. Curry pitches to Ricks, and Ricks is nailed at the line of scrimmage. In fact, he probably lost a yard or 2. The Hornet defense waiting for Chris Ricks. Clock moving down to 6 minutes remaining. Crabbers leading by just 5 points, 18-13. This game did not have all the points of last year's game, but it's had every bit of all of the excitement. They marked the ball at the Deep Creek 8.
Well, they got to be careful they don't get a delay of game here.
They do get the play off. Curry rolling, looking. He's got some room. He is down inside the 5. He is in for a touchdown.
Oh, what a nice call. Whoa.
The Ronald Curry show continues.
Well, Tim, it's almost indescribable what this young man can do. 24-13.
Ronald Curry has sent a lot of the Deep Creek fans headed to the exits, but I tell you, it's still early to be leaving this game.
Both these teams can score and score quick. You're right, Tim.
5:26 to go, and all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Now, granted, the Hornets would need 2 touchdowns and assume that they can stop the Hampton Crabbers, which they haven't been able to do much of lately. And again, the Crabbers will try for the 2-point conversion. Ronald Curry over center, rolling to his left, and then he is sacked. He will not get a chance to get this one away, as in on the stop for the Hornets was number 55. That is Kevin Parker. Let me remind you that, again, our fourth quarter being brought to you in part by Lifeline Fitness Center. We urge you to get your body in shape after all that Thanksgiving turkey and stuffing and dressing and all that other good stuff. They're over at 1816 Todd's Lake. Here is the replay. Well, this is the sack of Mr. Curry. Hey, listen, don't forget either that the role of the parent is paramount in the education process, and Hampton Chevrolet encourages parents to get involved. Join your school's PTA on Monday. Well, it's 24-13. 11 points is the difference. That means that the Hornets have to have 2 scorers and then hope to hold the Crabbers, all of that occurring in 5 minutes and 26 seconds.
But they can tie it, Tim, with a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal.
Got a chance to see just the very tail end of the score there as Ronald Curry on that.
Does he sound out of breath to you, or is that just my imagination?
Ronald Curry had a 24-yard run, a 22-yard run, and then an 8-yard run for the touchdown. So
picked up a few of the yardies that time and didn't pass the ball.
Only passed it if he had to. Now the Crabbers have gotten a rejuvenation in their kickoffs, but now this will be into the wind, so we'll see if they can enjoy with Darnell Hoyer having some success. And this is a short kick. This is almost in the classification of an onside kick. It was not intentionally so. And again, now for whatever reason, we went back to a different kickoff man after some noted success for the Crabbers, but they'll mark the ball at the Deep Creek 35-yard line. And the clock never started because no one on the inbounds team touched the ball.
Well, the Hornets still have all 3 of their timeouts left.
So the illegal procedure gives the ball to the Hornets at the 35-yard line. As I said that before, they're 65 yards away. They've got a great explosiveness in that team that's got to be wearing down that Hampton defense. But this is when you become aware of your ability to be a champion. If you have to reach back now, this is the time you have to do it.
You're right there, Tim, but this is a team that likes to grind it out on the yard.
Look out. Dyer tripped up by Ronald Curry at the 47-yard line. He put the shoulder in his leg.
That's McKenzie, number 7.
Thought it was 1, but you're right, it is number 7, McKenzie. And just like that, Dyer tears off a big chunk of yardage down to the Hampton 45-yard line. 20-yard gain. No huddle. We've already seen this from the Hornets earlier, the no huddle offense. Dyer again, right side, and he spins away and gets about 5 down to the Hampton 40. Of course, the big problem here for the Hornets is this does consume time inside of 5 minutes. This is what the
Crabbers want. If you're gonna, we'll give you 4 or 5 yards, because you're gonna run the clock down and you're not gonna get the ball twice, hopefully.
Powell goes over and gets the call from the sidelines. They are not huddling up as they have been doing in the second half here, going without the huddle.
Inside handoff.
And the Crabber defense holding on for dear life, as that is number 19, Terry Frost.
Look like we have a flag on the play. And that may be a holding. Oh, it's a clip, which is as bad.
Actually, it's worse. Cost of 15 on the clip. So that would be a big help to the Crabbers after they had allowed some substantial yardage Now they'll back them up 15.
Well, we've seen this all night long, Tim, where the Hornets are moving the ball, and then they get themselves a penalty, get in a second and long or third and long or even a first and long, and then they'll go to the pass. And they've only been successful, I believe Bob Kellen said, one time tonight on the pass.
Speaking of success, Dyer has carried the ball 26 times tonight for 264 yards unofficially.
Good gracious.
From their 47-yard line, second down and 18 for the Hornets. The pitch, and it's a fumble. The ball is loose, and it's recovered by the Hornets. That's the second time they've tried that handoff.
Well, it's a little pitch, and number two, Angelo Sykes, Tim, just never looked the ball into his hands, and I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, I got to get outside. I know I'm looking for my blockers. I'm looking for the lanes, and that really hurts you because now you got third and what? 20. I don't even. How many yards is that?
It's third down and 21.
Okay.
Back to pass, gets good protection, throws, got a man wide open. Very close to the yard markers. He is inbounds at the 35-yard line. Now let's wait and see.
He did not make the first down. He had to cross the 35, Tim, and he's at about the 36.
Just about a half a yard shy.
And the clock continues to run.
The clock is restarted now, 3:07 and moving.
Tim, it was never stopped because he did not go out of bounds.
And some confusion on both sides of the ball. And now let's wait and see what's going on here. The officials have stopped the play for a moment. They're saying it's fourth down. Maybe Deep Creek has asked for a measurement. There you see Mike Smith exhorting his team and the officials from the sideline. We're inside of 3 minutes to go. Now, obviously, if Deep Creek can score, they'll try the onside kick. That's a foregone conclusion. And they still have all three of their timeouts. Hampton has one timeout remaining. Dyer gets the call, and Dyer gets the first down, which will stop the clock while they move the chains. They're down inside the Hampton 30 at about the 29.
When he goes for that short yardage run, he puts a lot of beef in the lineup. He being Coach Carter.
The Hampton defense once again being called upon. This is Dyer, and Dyer is wrestled down at the 21-yard line, short of another first down. The Crabbers give him about 8 or 9 yards every time, but so far he's only found the end zone on one occasion, but the ever-present threat is there.
Well, and not only that, Tim, but they are fighting the clock because with all their timeouts, they're not calling timeout.
Powell throws way over the head of the intended receiver on the far sideline.
Who was that, 23?
Yep. Hey, Tom Gear and Gear Printing has been instrumental in the recent establishment of a new honors park honoring police officers in the Hampton community who made the ultimate sacrifice. Our hats go off to Tom Gear for that effort, and Gear Printing, we thank them for bringing you a part of this coverage tonight. Also, Zoom Sitco with 5 convenient locations, one of our key sponsors tonight, as they have been all season long. This is Deion Dyer, and Dyer's down to the 15-yard line. Another first down with 2:13 remaining. That stops the clock. And now the Hornets considering a timeout, and they will, in fact, use one of their 3 timeouts to stop the clock with 2:13 left in the fourth quarter.
Well, so you're in a kind of a quandary here because if you use your timeouts now and you score, you got to go onside. Hampton, then if they get the onside kick, Tim, all they have to go is on the knee, basically, just run the clock. They can't stop it. So I don't know that the coach is going to use all 3 of his timeouts, but he's with 2:13. You got to save as much time as you can. What do you do?
Well, you got to save time, but you also have to get into the end zone to make saving time even worthwhile. So.
That's right. So, yeah, you got a good point there. If you don't get in the end zone, you can save all your time and all your timeouts, and you don't get to carry them over to the next game, right?
Or in this case, case the next season, because this is sudden death. The winner of this game will go to Northern Virginia next Saturday afternoon, and the loser will be finished for the season. The Hampton Crabbers, of course, tasted a bitter defeat last year on a last-second pass play after it appeared that they would have won the game. They would have won the game if they could have prevented that pass completion in the end zone, and that's why you almost have to have that ball in your stomach now if you're a Hampton Crabber fan, because you see this drive here going and then time running down. Last year, Powell threw a long pass. It has not been his forte tonight. Passing has not been very positive at all for Deep Creek.
Well, he's got 2 completions out of how many attempts? Does Killen have it over there?
Oh, I'm sure Mr. Killen has that statistic. We'll get to that in just a moment. It is 1st and 10 at the Hampton 15-yard line. This is Perry in motion, and Perry gets around the corner. A little help as Donnie Green appeared to be held on the play. Not enough for a first down. It marks the ball at about the 9, maybe the 8-yard line of Hampton. Clock moving inside of 2 minutes now. Dyer, the only back in the backfield. Now Perry comes in motion, and they fake to Perry. Powell throws in the end zone, incomplete.
Almost got an official.
Stops the clock with 1:41 remaining in the fourth quarter. 11 points is the difference in the game. If you know your math, you can get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. It makes it with a 3-point difference. And Joe Verdi can kick field goals. I watched him do it last year on a much worse field than this one.
Well, and not only that, Tim, but he'll have the wind behind him, so that's a plus in his favor. As we look now at 3rd down.
1 for 7 for Deep Creek in the passing department. This is Mr. Dyer, and Dyer is got a first down inside the 5-yard line. That'll stop the clock while they move the chains.
Tim, he is right down at about the 2-yard line.
The clock is restarted with 1:34 and moving. 1st and goal for the Hornets. They have marched down the field. The pitch goes to Perry. Carlos Perry is in for the score.
124.
So there is still life. Carlos Perry, after fumbling a couple of times tonight,
and on that same play, Tim,
is successful on the man-in-motion pitch.
Well, that shows confidence that Coach Carter has in him.
The Hampton defense has been worn down by this just dogged running attack of Deep Creek. But they still lead 24-19. Now the 2-point conversion attempt for the Hornets. Powell has it broken up, so a field goal will do the Deep Creek Hornets no good if they can, in fact, recover the obvious onside kick. They trail by 5. They have 2 timeouts left, and there's a minute 24, so there's nothing in the world more important than this kickoff as far as this game is concerned.
Well, Tim, I'll tell you, it looks like Mike Smith and his coaching staff are bringing in all the people with good hands, and I see a lot of little kids with your receivers and all up there, and I'm sure he told them, catch the ball, go down on the ground. Don't try to run, don't do anything, just catch it and go on the ground. And I don't mean little kids, I mean smaller than his big linemen.
No heroes, no one trying to run a ball back, just get the ball and cover it.
And he's got 9 men up close to the possible onside kick. And of course, if it goes over their head, it's still,
once it goes 10 yards, it's anybody's ball.
Well, he's got everybody on his team over here to the left, so you almost got to assume that's where it's going.
It's a nice cat and mouse game because you think that's the case, and then, well, gee, what if they try it on the right side? And so anyway, let's see how this pans out. This is the biggest play of the game so far. The ball gets a big bounce, which is what the Deep Creek Hornets are looking for. They say they've got the ball. Let's wait and see who the officials give it to.
Got a great bounce.
Excellent opportunity for the Hornets. They say they've got it, and yet no signal. Now they say the Hornets have got it. A great onside kick. You don't do it any better.
got a great bounce. The Crabbers went up to get the ball and was hit just as he was going for the ball.
So the ball is marked for play. 2 timeouts remaining. You couldn't have written a better script. The Hornets, all they need is a touchdown to win the game. This is Dyer, and Dyer gets about 5 to the Hampton 40.
And they're calling a timeout real quick. They've been in the Hornets stand with 1:08, and that puts them down to 1 timeout.
Here's the onside kick. You're going to see a perfect onside kick. The ball takes the big bounce, and one of the Hornets is right there. An excellent job. It couldn't have been performed better. You can't ask for a better execution. You see the scramble there, but the point is moot. It was recovered by the Hornets. Got that big bounce that they wanted. Now the Crabbers have to reach back now. You know, I don't even think a Crabber had a good shot at that ball.
Well, the Crabber that went up got hit as he went up. So if there's a case in hindsight, maybe they should have been blocking those guys coming down. But, you know, I can say that up here, but I'm not coaching.
1:08, 1 timeout left. Remember now, Powell has had little success throwing tonight. But last year, he threw that pass in the end zone on the final play of the game that cost the Hampton Crabbers a chance at the championship. Powell back to pass, fakes short, goes long, has a man, can't complete the pass. That was number 19, Frost, on the pattern.
Well, evidently the coaching staff does not feel that they can move the ball down with 1:02 by giving it to Dyer. They've got to go up with the pass.
Well, you know, you look at it this way. If you can advance the ball, you're at the Hampton 40. If you can get a 20-yard completion, you're at the 20. All you need is 2 or 3 handoffs to Dyer, and the way he's been running tonight, you just have to shorten the field here is what they're trying to do. And of course, the Crabbers would like nothing better than to pick him off, but that's an obvious fact. Perry is the man in motion. Powell, who has had time all night, gets it away. Has a man open. The ball is tipped. Incomplete.
Almost intercepted by Curry and then by McKenzie.
Woo! Curry had a hand on it. McKenzie had a hand on it. The ground got it with 56.4 seconds remaining, and it's 4th down and 5 for the Deep Creek Hornets. Clock stops with 56.4. If the Hornets can convert, it keeps them alive. If they don't, this game, for all intents and purposes, would be over.
And they may just give the ball to Dyer.
Powell keeps it himself. He's got Dyer as a lead blocker. They wipe out the Hampton defense, and Powell's got the first down. 46.3 to check that 49.3 seconds. First down at the Hampton 20-yard line, and now the final timeout is called by the Hornets. Excellent play. They got Dyer and the man in motion, who in this case was Frost. They were the lead blockers for Powell. He's a big kid. He can run well, and he picked up 20 yards. This is what the game was like last year. I mean, there it is, folks. 24-19. You don't even need the extra point. If you get in the end zone, you've got enough to win. Of course, if there's no time left. Powell, 10 carries tonight for 125 yards, and you add another almost 300 yards for Dyer on the evening. Over 400 yards rushing between the two young men, Dyer and Powell. Well, again, the Crabbers have to reach back and see if they've got it in them. They've got 1 timeout remaining. Deep Creek has no timeouts left. 1st and 10 at the Hampton 20-yard line.
Well, you know that the Crabbers are going to reach down deep and try to stop them.
20 yards away from the state semifinals. Powell throwing in the end zone, incomplete. Again, Curry got a hand on it. The intended receiver was Carlos Perry, number 32. I was giving the touchdown earlier to Perry. Forgive me, it was not 32, it was 2, who is Sykes, who scored the touchdown from 2 yards out a while ago. In our excitement, I got some of my names mixed
you
up
got
there.
excited tonight. Man, I tell you, this game is just, you got your stomach turning.
44 ticks of the clock remaining. 2nd and 10 at the Hampton 20. Sykes in motion. Powell wants to run. He is dragged down and he is inbounds or out of bounds. They say he went out of bounds, which stops the clock with 36.4. But a loss on the play makes it 3rd and
Powell
long.
is limping, Tim.
The loss back to the 25-yard line. 3rd down and 15. 36.4, the slowest clock in the history of clocks if you're a Hampton fan. And if it's a Deep Creek fan,
You're saying it's going too fast.
it's going too fast. 3rd down and 15. Can't ask for it any better than this. Powell back to pass. Has time. Throws, and it is intercepted. It is picked off. The Hampton Crabbers at the 5-yard line. 42. Darnell Hollier.
Was Hollier got it?
I believe it was.
Well, Tim, I got to go with Ronald Curry as the player of the game tonight. He has been Mr. Everything. He's had most of the offensive output, throwing the ball and running the ball. I don't know if you've got any way you want to go. There's a lot of people that you could take into consideration, but I got to go with Ronald Curry.
I think that's a foregone conclusion.
And the reason we're not giving one to the other team, Tim, is we have written to the VHSL for us to be able to do this for the Hampton schools only. So we're not trying to say boo to Deep Creek or anybody else that we're doing. Hampton's last time out, I believe.
The man that was just in your picture, Mr. Dyer, would get my vote without a whole lot of contemplation on my part as far as if we were awarding a Deep Creek player of the game.
Right, and we're not doing it simply because VHSL wouldn't allow us to do it.
Kurt Newsom, the coach, you see him there in the gray hooded sweatshirt. Here as a spectator tonight. I'm sure last week his concern was a little more deep.
Tim, he's only got 6 seniors on his team over there, Kickoff. Great team.
Now the Crabbers can run out the clock. The Hornets have no timeouts remaining, but the Crabbers have to be very careful that they don't make any mistakes. They want to get that good, clean snap, drop to the knee, and then basically they can run the clock out because there's less than 30 seconds remaining in regulation time. But they're on the 5-yard line, so this is not an area where you want to make any mistakes. Ronald Curry at the quarterback, and he takes a knee and then jumps up and retreats to make sure there's no confusion. The clock is going to run out on the Deep Creek Hornets.
No.
The clock is running, and that is going to do it. The Deep Creek Hornets will finish the season 11-1, and the Hampton Crabbers will continue their season also 11-1. And the Hampton side goes nuts. The Crabbers have avenged a heartbreaking loss last year to these same Deep Creek Hornets.
I was going to say, Tim, last year that was very disheartening for the Hampton Crabbers, but what a great job to come back, and their defense, who has got to have been tired from the way they've been playing and giving up yardage to Mr. Dyer, but
let me tell you something.
Great job with the coaching staff.
We haven't seen all the teams in the state, but I would venture to say that this was a battle between the two best teams that I could imagine in the state. Of course, Deep Creek ranked #1 coming into the contest, and Hampton with that one single loss at the hands of the Kickoff Warriors in a driving rainstorm in the opening game of the season. Crabbers have rolled off 11 consecutive victories and moved to the state semifinals next Saturday afternoon in Northern Virginia, a site and a team to be named.
Well, Tim, our hats go off to the Jerry Carter and his coaching staff, they've done a great job, and the Hornets. Do not want to forget the Hornets. You don't go undefeated very often, and when you do, you've got not only a good team, good coaching staff, and a bunch of good kids on it, and he's got a lot of young kids. The quarterback will be back next year, and also some of his wideouts, but watch out for Hampton, because they'll be back with a lot of their people next year too.
Well, you wouldn't be too surprised to see Deep Creek Hampton 3, would you?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised, but I'd like to see it on the other side of the water one time, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that'd be nice too. But again, we want to thank all the fine folks here at Oscar Smith High School for all of their help and cooperation in helping us bring you this contest tonight.
Bill Myers is the athletic director over here, Tim, that just went out of his way to make sure everything was set up for us. And of course, I know you want to mention sponsors, but I don't know if Bob Killen's got any last second stats that you want to go over before we close it down.
Well, I'm going to run over the sponsors. We want to thank again the folks that made our coverage possible tonight. Hampton Chevrolet, 1073 West Mercury Boulevard in Hampton. Forbes and Broadwell, attorneys at law, along with Lifeline Fitness Center. Zoom's Sitco with 5 convenient Hampton locations.
When gearing up for your next print job, call Gear Up.
And in part by Wood Funeral Home, where Richard Pulley is the funeral director. It's not easy to say after that game. I'm telling you, I sat through the game last year. I had the good fortune of helping Channel 23 as far as giving my information from the Hampton side of the water, and I really enjoyed working with those fine folks over at 23. And I was so excited after that game, I didn't go to sleep till about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I have a sneaking suspicion that I'll have that same problem
tonight. Are you going back to Duck tonight?
Going back to Duck. Going to relax the rest of the weekend.
You know, duck before you get there.
That's right. But we will be, I assume, headed up to Northern Virginia next Saturday to
Look
cover
to that.
The Hampton Crabbers in their quest for a state championship. Group AAA. They have won the Eastern Regional Champions. They have defeated the Deep Creek Hornets by the final score of 24-19. And just scanning very briefly down some of the statistics, the Deep Creek Hornets 64 carries for 438 yards rushing, and Dyer alone with almost 300 yards, 296 to be exact. Their passing department, they really fell down in the passes, and that's probably the difference in this game tonight. Only 1 completion in 11 attempts, and also 1 interception, a total of 23 yards for the night. A total of 461 total yards for the Hornets. An incredible display of a running attack, and we knew coming in that that's what it was going to be like. But the difference in this game, Ronald Curry. Ronald Curry did everything tonight in helping his team win the Eastern Regional Championship. That's about all.
Okay.
All right. That's it. The final score again. The Hampton Crabbers are the Eastern Regional Champions. They defeat Deep Creek by the final score of 24-19. For Bob Hitz and the entire Channel 5 crew, and Bob Killen, our statistic man of the hour, good night, everybody.